Good Tuesday afternoon to you on this January 21st, 2025, the day after college football is over. Next significant college football, Saturday, August 23rd, when we have week 0 in college football. I guess before that we'll have NFL Hall of Fame game. We'll have NFL preseason games, but the next significant college football game is for a long time after last night when the curtain fell on the 2024 season with Ohio State winning the national championship. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brett Norsworthy. No Bryant Dake is today, but co-hosting with me today, Darian Newsom. Darian, I text with you almost every day, but the first time for me to see you in 25.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you.
We hugged in the hallway.
Yes, we did. But great day on MLK Day from all aspects, from basketball to football. So
near and far.
Yes, if you were a sports fan, you enjoyed it. You know, take a seat on the couch and enjoy your day.
And you had the full day. Yes. I know you produced yesterday morning, and then you went downtown for a lot of the festivities.
Yes, I did. I actually had tickets. I did not go as media on yesterday, so enjoyed it.
So you were shouting and screaming.
Oh,
huh?
absolutely. Well, I was sad for most of the game. If you saw the game, because we were down most of the game, but it was a joyful ending. So good game all around.
Landon Schmidt producing as always. Landon, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, guys.
Doing well?
Good,
sir.
I'm
doing very well.
Good.
I'm always doing
we gonna
well.
make it without Bryant?
Yeah, we're going to try.
He holds it together for us, though, doesn't he?
He does a lot.
I 100% know and believe that he's listening, but he ain't accepting calls today, people.
No.
He ain't accepting calls today.
No, he's
Just
not. He'll be back.
Let the man rest.
He'll be
Yes,
back with us
absolutely.
tomorrow. So last night, what did you think?
Good game. I thought there were some adjustments and some things that could have been had yesterday. But overall, I'm glad that the game ended up being what it was, because I checked out, I think, twice. I thought the game was over. But kudos to Notre Dame battling back and making it an event. But yesterday, I checked out at 2 points. Once the doink happened, and once Ohio State then came back and scored after that. I thought it was 100% over. But shame on me.
TV finds the Notre Dame
Absolutely.
kicker's dad, doesn't he? That guy's the coolest guy in the building,
Yes,
isn't he?
yeah,
He's on Flatboy. The make that won the game for him, he acted no different than the doinker last
Yes,
night.
absolutely. And that kick for you bettors out there, I mean, there was a lot of people very happy that Ohio State got that kick, and some Notre Dame fans that were pretty sad.
Almost got the backdoor cover. We had the group lock loss yesterday, Darian. All of us. You finished 20, 21, and 25 for the Bowls. I think that's right. I've got it somewhere. But we all had Notre Dame yesterday. We all lost. Notre Dame, they had their chance. The opening drive was a thing of beauty.
Yes.
But it ended up costing them because that was all they had.
Yep.
They fired the best shot right out of the gate with the ground and pound, with the ball control. And with that, though, ironically, they ended up not winning the rushing battle, not even close. Mm-hmm. Ohio State won the rushing battle, and Notre Dame ultimately won the passing battle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Junkins busting that big run helped that out a lot. But I want to steal a quote from my friend John Harden. It was unsustainable. That's what he called the first drive. The first drive, I guess Notre Dame. Notre Dame felt like that they could play like that, but talent-wise, it didn't add up. So there was no sense in them falling in love and playing like that, and unfortunately, they did.
I'm seeing today from a lot of people, some of it from the SEC persuasion, wanting to crack on Ohio State as the best team money can buy. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, it's legal. Mm-hmm. I don't know if everybody's heard it or not, but it's very legal. And it's a little bit like in the days when it was the under the table stuff. No, it's not the best team money could buy. It's the best team that money outbids you, because you were out there trying to get those same players. All the players at Ohio State last night, everybody had a big value. Some of them were at other places last year. They lost some as well. But they did a good job of player retention with NIL, and I think that's going to be one of the key things going forward. Just looking at Ole Miss, what if they had retained Quinshon Judkins and tried to?
Mm-hmm. They did. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They tried to. But I got some pretty choice words for our SEC fans that have been pretty much crapping on the Big Ten today, because there's no shame about it. Big Ten is king right now.
Big Ten is king
They are
right
king.
now.
Not only have they won the previous two, the SEC hadn't even gotten to the finals in the previous 2 years. So
that's just simply irrefutable. Now, wear that crown well.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
It may tilt. It ain't heavy.
And can you wear it, and can you do it as long and with the consistency that the SEC did it in? But you got to start somewhere.
Absolutely. And that's a lot of the pushback. I've been hearing the numbers.
One's now led to two. Well, two lead. Who knows?
Absolutely. Winning, I believe, 12 or 13 since Florida won in 2006 up until now. A lot of the numbers have been thrown at me that, hey, this is just 2 years in a row. You know, what about the SEC all this century, rather? But I say, hey, 2 years is enough because if you look forward, the Big Ten ain't going anywhere. You know, just
no, it's not.
Not anywhere.
It's not. Now, it is the first time in the Associated Press, the oldest news gathering body in the United States, since they, at the end of the season, a lot of times it was by vote, and most of the last 30 years it's been by merit or so of 30 years. This is the first time the Big Ten's had back-to-back champions in AP since 42 and 43.
Oh. That's a good one. Wow. I didn't know that. I had a quick note about Ohio State being the first team to win that 4-team championship as well as the 12-team championship. So Ohio State has some stake in this, the best college school around, the best conference around. They got some stake in it the same way Alabama does, same way LSU does. They're not silent anymore.
But for now, the best conference in college football, it is clearly the Big Ten. What really smarts with SEC partisans is this. These last 2 years, okay, it's been Big Ten champion, Big Ten winning it, even in the runner-up role. Yep. Last year Washington, this year Notre Dame. The SEC could take a little bit of consolation a lot of those years. Well, we didn't win it, but Clemson did.
Yes.
And they kind of have the same Southern profile of the SEC. Okay, we didn't win it, but Florida State did. The last 2 years, it's been two champions from up there and two runner-ups from out there.
Absolutely. And the last time that the SEC even had an opportunity to get to the Final Four, Michigan didn't allow them. The Big Ten stopped it.
Overtime
it was
lost
in
to
a race,
Bama.
so, hey.
Overtime win over Bama.
Absolutely.
Last year in the Rose Bowl, it was Coach Nick Saban's last game. But college football is over for this year. There are a ton of odds and stuff already out for next year, including Heisman Trophy odds.
What?
You ready?
Absolutely.
Arch Manning, 6-1.
I like it. Look at him smile. I like it. You like it too, Landon?
I think I've seen this list.
Garrett Nussmeier, 9-1. Cade Klubnik, Jeremiah Smith, 12-1. DJ Lagway, Drew Aller, John Mateer, Lenora Sellers, Nico Iamaleava, 16-1. Carson Beck, 18-1. Julian Sayin, 18-1. Dante Moore, 20-1. Ryan Williams, 25-1. Austin Simmons at Ole Miss, 33-1.
And John Harden says he's going to be much better quarterback play.
He's got a chance.
Yeah, that's what he says.
He's got a really good chance to be it.
That's what he says. He says he's much better than Dart.
The Dart's got a lot of experience. He's been in a lot of big games. I want to see Austin Simmons the first time he's got to get the ball and go on that minute 45 drive that I saw Jackson Dart pull off against LSU and in other games.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And as far as some of those leaders, I doubled down on Sellers this year. South Carolina was my sleeper team, but this year, going into next year rather, I'm doubling down big time on Nussmeier. I love the way he's built. I love everything about him. I think he'll end up being the number one quarterback taken. But
opening day next year will be LSU at the other Death Valley at Clemson. That'll be Nussmeier versus Klubnik in that
Death
game.
Valley. That's the
battle for Death Valley. What's the real deal? I said it last week, and I mean it even more today.
Right.
It's LSU.
Has to be.
I've never been to a game at Clemson, though.
Has to be.
It better be wild and crazy. That's all I know. Nobody likes snow pictures more than the SEC, do we?
Oh, no, not at all.
Those pictures coming out of Bourbon Street and Tiger Stadium today are wild.
They are culture shockers to these people. They are just absolute culture shockers.
Largest snowfall south of Lafayette, Louisiana since 1895.
Wow. And there's more to come, right? It's not over with. Don't believe so.
I don't know.
You better get ready to get them some big
Watch
coats.
your bridges and overpasses.
yes. Watch the bridges and overpasses.
You know where everybody's reporting from. You're in the TV world. You know that.
Absolutely. And even right now in our hometown, right now, it's cold. I'm bundled up as we speak. I hate the piercing cold. And my birthday is literally 7 days from today, and I hate being born in the winter.
Early happy birthday.
Oh, gracias. Thank you, good sir. But yeah, it's cold outside.
You weren't playing for birthday wishes there with you.
Oh, no, not at all. No, not at all.
Was he landing? Was he playing for birthday?
Hey, I take early songs.
28th of January, huh?
Absolutely.
We'll sing you something later.
A case of Coke will do well.
I don't want to disrupt the canines if I start singing.
I do have a Chris Ballard for you if you need one.
We know
Yes,
you
sir.
do. We know you do. Absolutely.
What do you think of some of the NFL hirings? Ben Johnson going to be with the Bears. That's don't mess up Caleb Williams, isn't it?
From the Ben Johnson aspect, I like it because of not only him, but I like them bringing Dennis Allen along. That's the biggest piece to me. The veteran to help the rookie. A lot of times in careers, you get that young upstart, and it's like, what do I do? I'm the leader. It's all hail to the chief at that moment. But sometimes you need someone to muddy the waters, so to speak, to let you know it's not all gravy at the top right now.
But you know the one we're waiting on.
Yeah.
There's no coaching change. There's no off-season move until the Cowboys do something.
Absolutely. The waters have cooled off, so to speak, for what I'm hearing from Sanders. But a lot of people think that's how Jerry Jones operates. He wants you to think that that everything is quiet and a week or two, big splash, or maybe he'll pull a Dak Prescott and hire Dion first day of the season. Who knows? How Jerry Jones does. But
who would you hire?
Personally, I like the Sanders deal. Professionally,
I love it.
Professionally, I don't.
Why wouldn't they?
If his son's in the room, I don't like it. I do not like it if his son's in the room. But apparently, that's the only way he'll come if his son is in the room.
Darren, I've been on.
I don't like it.
I've been kind of on my soapbox with this. For years, Jerry Jones has talked about he thought Deion Sanders was going to be coaching supernova someday. Yeah. Even big-footed Hunter Yurachek into giving him an interview at Arkansas. I don't think he had even coached at Jackson State yet. Mm-hmm. When that was when Hunter Yurachek ended up having to hire Sam Pittman. Got him an interview there to help him, learn about the interview process. Deion Sanders has been saying all these years that he wanted the smoke. If they don't come together, then I think both of them have been fibbing to everybody.
Yeah, you'll think they'll never come together. Okay. The main reason I don't like it is, can he cut his son if his son is not up to billing? And not necessarily Shador, it's the other one, Silo. Let's just say he gets a Silo on his team. Can you cut him, or is he still a part of the package deal? I don't think that's going to go over well with the veterans in that room. Or can you even bench Shador? Shador goes out, throws 4 interceptions. Can you bench him?
But if Deion Sanders doesn't have gravitas with veterans in the locker room, who in the heck's going to have it?
Right. Correct. I just don't like it if his son is in the room. I like it actually better if his son is not there. So
you know what Jerry Jones loves about it, don't you?
We're talking about
all the 21s that will be sold at the team store.
Absolutely.
And online.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if he can get his hands back on Deion.
He could have crossed the board with every suite holder, every ticket, everything go up 20%.
Absolutely. And the stock with free agents will go up. I guarantee you see a difference in signings, the entire 9. So, getting Sanders, the big Sanders in there will be a big deal, but who knows?
But there's no way Deion Sanders, if he really has the chance, is he going to say, no, I'm staying in Boulder. I'm building something. You got to take a swing at that, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, and from, he has an offer on the table if you think about it, They've been speaking. So
it feels like it.
It feels like it.
Well, come on, let's get rings around these
I want to see it as well. You want to see it. It'll be great for us. It'll be great for our careers. It's great for television.
I think it'll be great for the Cowboys.
Great for everyone. It'll make the Cowboys a lot more likable. I know that because the previous head coaches were kind of vanilla, kind of yes men to Jerry Jones, and that's not what we want to see from a head coach.
Parcells wasn't, but
definitely not Parcells.
Jason Garrett,
definitely
McCarthy.
Garrett and McCarthy, definitely.
Campo,
those are the two. Oh, Dave Campo, how about that?
Chan Gailey.
Chan Gailey. Yeah. So those are definitely not Parcells. Definitely not Parcells.
Yeah, that was hard to, but it's hard to fill and be the personality that Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer that they were.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you get a person like Dion in, you won't miss the Henry. The Travis Henrys of the world, he's going to make sure that happens. Like, that's not going to happen. So, huge upgrade all around. If you can pull him in, I mean, great TV, but I also think you get a great mind that you're bringing in the building.
We are in our Family Leisure studio where family and fun come together. The floor model sale going on now, all 2024 inventory. It's got to go. Help them make room for 2025. All floor models up to 50% off. Cold plunge tubs starting at $49.99. Hot tubs up to $3,000 off with free steps and other things. Pool tables, arcades, ping pong, air hockey, foosball tables, all 20 to 60% off. Theater seating up to 75% off. It's not too early to start thinking about pool season. Buy now and get on the schedule for install before the rush begins, because it's not staying 12 degrees forever. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. Darian Newsom in with me today, Brian out, and we will have Brent Beard with us at 4 o'clock to talk college football, the end of the college football season, and that always starts one of the great off seasons ever, and that's talking college football now until it begins next year at 4:30. Matt Infield normally with us at 3:30. He will be with us at 4:30 today from Action News 5 to talk the Memphis Tigers at 4:45. Big number of the day, 5 o'clock, Bo Marchant on the NFL. 5:30, we'll take a look at everything going on around sports that we didn't have on the schedule and what's trending. At 5:45, we'll close it out with Crunch Time. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all the 2025 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway, the only Lexus dealership in Memphis, and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the safe luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Darren, you first.
All right, absolutely, Brett. My top story of the day. Got a little ahead of myself.
You gonna throw big number out now?
I almost did. I am waiting. My big number is great today. Absolutely love it. My top story of the day is the Memphis Grizzlies getting a big win yesterday on MLK Day. I know it was easy, low-hanging fruit to come in and talk college football playoffs, but the reason my top story is my top story is because the Grizzlies are almost whole. Yesterday, we got G.G. Jackson II back on the floor. All we're missing now is Vince Williams. My big questions they'll come along later. I will fill in Matt Infield to get him to fill in some of those holes rather, but definitely a great win yesterday. Reason saying, this time last year, the Grizzlies were 13th. They were in 13th place last year, January 21. This year, firmly in the third place spot in the Western Conference. I think a great win, but even bigger than the win, like I said, we're almost whole, Brett.
Really close. Can
almost
you believe
home. We're almost home.
And yesterday you look at that box score and you see the minutes, the double-digit minutes played for so many. Now the production largely came from the starters.
Yes.
Yesterday was not a bench day, but a lot of people got in on the action. How, in the modern vernacular, how are we going to feed everybody?
And that'll come up later on. And you said a lot of double digits. Everyone was in double digits except for Jay Huff.
That's a lot of playing time. The old Hubie Brown 10-man rotation in play. My top story, to put the wrap on college football, Ohio State wins it all with 2 losses, including a loss in their biggest rival game. That used to be an eliminator in college football. If you lost that rival late in the year, you went to the back of the line. A long, long time ago at Ohio State, if you lost that game and you didn't go to the Rose Bowl, you stayed at home. That changed in the 70s and with the proliferation of the bowl games, but that would have kept them at home at once upon a time. But now it seems like that game, that loss, was the motivation, the impetus to get right and get on this 4-game roll. They had to beat Tennessee in that game, or Ryan Day would have not survived. You hear all these that Ross Bjork could put out a statement right after that he's their coach. There was no way he was going to make it through that pressure. Now they've won the national championship. But there's still people in the Ohio State world that can't stand their coach,
Absolutely.
a national championship coach, because he didn't beat the biggest rival.
Not top story of the day.
Oh, I've been waiting on this. My not top story today is all of the SEC fans not giving up the ghost to the Big Ten and Ohio State. Listen up. Ohio State had the toughest opponent each round that they faced. Here it is. Tennessee was an 8 seed. In the second round, Oregon was a 1 seed. In the third round, Texas was the 5 seed. And last night, they were the 8 seed going against the 7 seed. They had a dominant win margin. Their win margin for all 4 teams, including those 2 SEC teams, were a whopping number 70. Remember that number 70, people, for later on. And breaking news, SEC, it was a big splash to bring in Texas. It was a big splash to bring in Oklahoma. But the Big Ten is making waves with the last 2 CFP champions. You got to give it up. You have to say, all hail Ohio State, all hail Ryan Day. This is not today to stand on your SEC hill.
The SEC likes to give a lot of history lessons about what they've done, but we're in the immediacy world. We're in the right now. And in college football, how these rosters can turn over. You're not talking about building for next year. If you can't talk about building for next year, how can you talk about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago? And the Alabama dynasty is over. I mean, that final poll today, the worst ranking for Alabama since the 2007 season. I mean, Bama finished with 4 losses. The door's open in the SEC for somebody other than Georgia, too.
Absolutely. And even if you take away the Big Ten winning these previous 2, Georgia won the other 2. So it's still not Alabama's year. So, therefore, it's just time for a new king.
My not top story is college football as well. Marcus Freeman, he's got Notre Dame back. He's got them back. They're fundamentally so much better than they were under Brian Kelly, even Brian Kelly's best teams. Brian Kelly took his team to the final game in the 2012 season. It took 12 years for Notre Dame to get back, and Marcus Freeman did it in year 3 of his tenure there. If LSU fans were honest, if you just had this simple poll, going forward, would you rather have Brian Kelly as your head coach or Marcus Freeman? What do you think they honestly would answer?
Not just LSU. I think that's the entire country, Marcus Freeman. That's an easy answer.
It would be Marcus Freeman. I think if they were honest about it. Brian Kelly got out thinking he could never win one there. I don't know that Marcus Freeman can win one there, but he's got him in good shape, and we already see the other people that were interested in him this year.
Yeah, and speaking of the correlations between Marcus Freeman, Brian Kelly, and as well as other great Fighting Irish coaches, check this out. It was the 3rd year, in year 3 actually, that Brian Kelly as well as Marcus Freeman got to the championship game. But Lou Holtz, Leahy, and the other great Fighting Irish coaches actually won those championships in year 3. Didn't know that.
Is that right?
Yep. Year 3 is the golden year for Notre Dame. It's year 3.
Lou's first year was 86, and he won it in 88.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep, year 3. So, unfortunately, Marcus Freeman couldn't bring it home, but he's still in some great company, even just by being a factor in year 3, keeping that Irish history
The
going.
2-loss national champion. We could see that a lot going forward.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. With the championship games, something's going to happen with the championship games. Was it James Franklin? Either everyone has it or you get rid of it. I don't think that fell on deaf ears. I've heard a lot of people talking about that. So
I don't think they'll get rid of them.
You can't get rid of them.
It makes them too much money.
Yep, you can't get rid of them. So I definitely agree with you on that.
And I don't think everybody's going to it either. I don't think James Franklin's right on this.
Yeah. There's a lot of pushback on it, but hearing rumblings of it. But I think it's fair. You got to be fair across the board when you're dealing with wins and nils, and those are the games that actually get you into the tournament.
When we come back, we'll talk even more college football. Really put a wrap on that. At 3:45, we will talk Grizzlies. The final AP poll out today. We'll go through that and look at it as well. You were at the Grizzlies game yesterday. On a bitterly cold day.
Yes.
How was the attendance?
Oh, great crowd.
Good.
Great crowd. I mean, you hate to do the comparison to my Tigers during a big game because that's what yesterday was. Big national game, and Grizzly fans showed up.
Good.
They showed up and showed out. They were there.
And it was challenging weather to get out in.
Oh, absolutely.
This is rough to go to and fro in.
That's why they call us
I made
fanatics.
the big mistake today. I get tired of lugging it around, so I went no coat. I needed a coat just from the parking lot to the door.
Yeah, you did, because it's bitter. It's bitterly cold. It's piercing. So all the listeners, make sure you're staying safe. I know you're listening to us. We appreciate it. But by all means, stay safe and warm out there. It's cold.
Yeah, you got to do that. But no bridges and overpass reports tonight.
No.
On Channel 5?
No, but Ron Childers says drip the pipes tonight, people. Make sure you drip the pipes.
Oh, yeah. We have to here. We had a big
Gotta drip the
disaster
pipes.
here a long time ago, not doing that. I've never had the freeze up. Have you?
Yes. 2 years ago, I was in Denver.
And you got home to it?
So you recall when Southwest had the flight issues or whatever, Southwest just went down the tubes around Christmas time 2 years ago? I was a part of that. Got stuck in Denver. Boom, we stay in Denver an extra night. Get home, the entire house is flooded because it was so cold here. Yep.
Flooded, gushing, or just kind
Flooded,
of
gushing. The pipe burst, and it burst inward towards the house. So it did not go out. So the entire house, the wall, because that's what kind of, what do you call that? Plaster or whatever. Once it gets wet.
Sheetrock, yeah.
Sheetrock. Once it gets wet, it's done.
I hear nightmares from people that have had it, and it's always the ice machine that it gets a lot of people.
I haven't had the ice machine. Ours was actually the water hose outside, but of course the pipes are in the home, so it burst in my closet. The water started in my closet, comes out of the...
I didn't know you had this.
Oh, it was bad. No, it was really bad, but that's why you have insurance. If you don't have it, by all means, get it.
Yeah, but that's why it always goes up
it goes up every year.
After you make that claim.
It goes up every year.
He's Darian Newsom. I'm Brett. We're Sportstime. We'll be back with you in a bit.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Sports 56 and 95 FM. Insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
You know, I think people forget there's a Central Barbecue location in South Haven.
And that's on us.
Well, you.
What does that mean?
Well, you're the spokesperson for Central Barbecue. It's your responsibility to remind people there's a Central Barbecue in South Haven.
It's very convenient that I'm the spokesperson when there's responsibility to be taken.
Just mention the Central Barbecue location in South Haven.
I got a lot to remember. There's a location on Butler downtown. There's a location on Summer, on Poplar.
And Getwell Road in South Haven. How hard is that?
I've heard you call yourself a spokesperson for Central Barbecue.
No, it was just to pick up chicks.
Good afternoon. Traffic's cranking up pretty good right now. Already in the Midtown area. In certain sections, they still have that ramp closed on 55 southbound onto 3rd. They're doing a little bit of road work over here this afternoon. We're concerned about that because we're getting into rush hour traffic, and that could catch a lot of folks off guard. There where that ramp's closed, 55 southbound onto 3rd, as traffic starts to increase even more. I-40 at Danny Thomas, headed westbound I-40 across the bridge over into West Memphis. St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital finds cures for kids with cancer and other life-threatening diseases. If you'd like to help them out, log on to their website at stjude.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Thank you, Landon. We welcome you back. Darren and Brett with you. Brian will be back tomorrow. And just got this from Lucas Fenton. Jason Munns retweeted it, and Lucas Fenton is at the Commercial Appeal, and the tweet is this: MLG&W and TVA are asking people to cut back on their energy consumption effective immediately.
No chance. It is 20 degrees outside. No chance.
901-360-8255 to text or to call at the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. All our guests will appear on that same number at 901-360-8255. You can't ask somebody to dial the heat back right now.
You cannot. You cannot. This is the time where people are supposed to be safe and warm. And if you have the ability to cut your heat to 78 or 90 or whatever it may be, this is your opportunity to do so. But I'm still working in the news realm. I understand MLGW and what they're saying and what they are trying to do because they, with some new acquisitions, people, they may be stretched a little thin for their grid and energy capabilities.
And the W part of MLG and W is leaving the water dripping.
Absolutely. And it may be precautions because they, maybe they don't have the manpower to take care of a lot of issues, so they want to be preemptive on one end, but not quite sure, but I'm not interested.
Are you seeing the pictures from New Orleans?
That's New Orleans, isn't it?
Jackson Square and Bourbon Street, the whole French Quarter. I don't know that in my life I can ever remember it looking like this.
Nope, I got
occasional dusting. Famously, in the early 60s, Ole Miss and Alabama played in a Sugar Bowl. I'm talking when it was at Tulane Stadium, 63 or 64, a million years ago. And it was the overnight big snow, and it was played in snow. This may be the first significant one for them since then.
And you know who else is going to get a significant piece of that? Our 4 o'clock guest, Mr. Brett Beard. I saw on the Weather Channel that the entire coast, and that's including Jacksonville, down in Mobile area, all the way across Florida. They're all expecting snow. So if the 904 hadn't got it now, we'll ask Brett later. What's he doing to get prepared for the blizzard that's coming his way?
It was cold enough at the Gator Bowl to snow. I went to Jacksonville and froze.
Oh, yeah.
Game night was very cold.
What did it get down to? I mean,
well, for me,
20s, 30s. No, not down there, right?
Yeah, but kickoff, I'm going to say it was around 45.
Yeah, that is chilly for them.
But that's cold for me, too.
My aunt stays down there. That's too cold for her.
That's way too cold. Last night, the last college football game of the year, we've talked about it a lot, and I mentioned the rushing yards. Last night, Ohio State won the rushing battle, but yet Notre Dame won the passing battle. For the bowl season, out of 46 bowl games, the team favorite in Las Vegas went 27-19. So the dog went 19-27. If you won the rushing battle, your team won 34 games. You were 34-12. If you won just the passing battle, you went 22-24. If you had the most yards passing, you went 22-24. So 739 rushing percentage to 478 passing. You've got to win the yards rushing battle. I don't care if it ends up being 45-42. It is a good indicator always of winning. The over in Las Vegas for 26 ball games hit 26 times, 26-20. So if you rode the over, you won a little bit. That's 565, and not any clear. So favorite and over was kind of the play.
Let's see. I was bringing up another number for you while you were getting that. Do you have the sacks? You wouldn't happen to have the sacks total in that?
I do not.
Okay, I didn't either. But one number I do have, and this is a direct correlation to what you saw yesterday, because Will Howard was very, very clean, unlike Riley on the other side. Notre Dame, 44% pressure rate, highest in college football this year. Last night, only 20%, lowest of the year. They just couldn't get to him. They couldn't get to him with the rush for whatever reason. And when they did get to him, they did bonehead things like the roughing the passer, where the play was clearly over. I think his last name was Obi, the defensive lineman. I'm sorry, for Notre Dame. Just daring, just like the broadcaster, just daring the Zebras to throw the flag at him. Like, What are you doing at that moment?
6 penalties for Ohio State, 3 penalties for Notre Dame, 445 yards total offense for Ohio State. They would have had to just handed that game away. They were the better team. And I think as we played the whole year, there was a point where I thought Oregon was the better team after they narrowly beat them in the middle of the year out in Eugene. But I thought it was Oregon or Ohio State as the best team all year.
Absolutely. And like I said, they proved it. They proved it with who they beat. As I stated in our top story, they played the higher of the seed in every round. So as far as opponents, the toughest opponent in every round, Ohio State got them, and they got their best shots. And they still defeated each one of them by double digits. A total of 70 points was their combined win margin, and that's including 2 SEC teams, the number 1 overall team, and an independent, which definitely belong.
So for Notre Dame, it was 12 years to just get back to that final game. I thought the way it was going to be another bludgeoning like Bama gave them 12 years ago.
It was scary.
But they rallied.
It was scary. It was very scary. Just some numbers on Marcus Freeman and the great season that he did. So any Notre Dame fans, we're giving kudos to Ohio State, but you guys deserve a job well done
14
as well.
14-2.
Absolutely. First CFP appearance, like I said, 2014. Most wins in program history, 14. Third straight winning season under Marcus Freeman, and Brian Kelly bailed on it all. Not only that, you win a Sugar and an Orange Bowl. You got something to be proud of, right?
Yeah, it's Notre Dame. They got a lot to be proud of, and a really difficult schedule for them next year. By Notre Dame standards, the schedule this year wasn't as tough as it usually is, but it wasn't their fault that Florida State wasn't very good. It wasn't their fault that some of the other teams that they have scheduled ended up not being a good team.
Oh, absolutely, and they got bit by what is it, NIL? Northern Illinois, was that correct? I'm wondering, are they on the schedule for next year? A little revenge action next year possibly for them. But other than that hiccup, you have to look at Marcus Freeman and his coaching style, his ability to connect with his team. There were a lot of people burying those guys. I don't know if I was one of them back then. Probably have to go back and listen. But that was a tough loss. I mean, it was a tough loss. It was a big loss, and sometimes you don't get up off the mat from those.
Home loss. Did Northern Illinois make the field goal or miss it at the buzzer? That was the difference.
I think they made it.
To win the game? Yeah. And that was after defeating Texas A&M on the road. Everybody had Notre Dame on upset watch at A&M opening weekend, college game day there. Mike Elko's first game at Texas A&M, and they really pushed them around. Louisville was a good opponent for Notre Dame, but it's not Notre Dame's fault that Georgia Tech and Florida State ended up not being very good, and USC.
Oh, no, of course not. I think we were one of the ones talking about how tough it was to play at Allen Field down there at Texas A&M, and Notre Dame, to their credit, went down there and handled their business big time down there.
Yeah, at Kyle Stadium.
Yeah, not Kyle Field.
At Texas A&M. And they've got snow. They're proud of their snow pictures there today.
Oh, they got it.
They're tweeting
the whole southern
out.
region. I mean, everyone just be careful today. The entire southern region's cold.
So when is the next one for Ryan Day? They go 10 years between Urban in 2014 and this one. How long do they wait for the next one?
Hopefully he unlocked something. But a question I actually wanted to ask you was, let's play your big Ohio State guy, Brett. Next year, he goes, I think they go to Michigan next year, correct?
They do.
Because they were at
Big
they were
House
in
this year.
Columbus this year. He goes in there and loses that game. How are you feeling as an Ohio State fan? Like,
I think
he just won a national championship.
I think the first thing you say is, okay, you just lost again to
1-5. That makes you 1-5.
Now you got to go win another national championship, or we don't back off of you. Okay. Not fire you, but you got to quit losing to the biggest rival, and that's without Harbaugh now. It was one thing losing to a veteran, experienced coach like Jim Harbaugh. Lose to a rookie coach this year at home to Sharon Moore.
Yeah, no bueno. And like you just used the words experienced veteran coach. He is now that. But I'm not the biggest Ryan Day follower, but I am happy for him.
I wish he would get happy.
Yeah, you say we wish he'd get happy. I think in his
boy, he looks good and miserable, doesn't he?
On the field, I think that was Molly. Maybe it was Molly McGrath. I think had the post game.
She did?
she unlocked some things from him. I mean, he was happy. He was exuberant. He was talking about getting that,
He's
that
had a lot
monkey
of
off
pressure on him.
Yeah, he had a lot of pressure on him. And his post-game comments really, really said that to me. At one point, I didn't know if he were talking about his players or himself when he started talking about overcoming and getting over the hump. I was like, hey, is this about you or the players? But he has reason to be happy today.
So in college football in the 21st century, so that's now a big, more than a sample size. That's a good chunk of history. We've had 13 different national champions. We've had Oklahoma, Miami, now Ohio State 3 times, USC twice, Texas, Florida twice, LSU twice, Bama 6 times, Auburn, Florida State, Clemson twice, Georgia twice, and Michigan. Who's the team that should be the next one to be the college football national champion that's not on that list for the 21st century?
Easy, Penn State.
I think it is easy, Penn State.
Penn State.
I think the next one's last night's defeated team.
Yeah.
With their history, back to 88, last time they've won it. Who would be third? So Penn State, Notre Dame, Tennessee?
Tennessee Brian Kelly?
LSU's won it, though.
Okay. That has not won it on that.
That hadn't won it.
Tennessee
in the 21st
definitely
century.
did. Okay, no, definitely Tennessee. Now that I get that cleared up, yeah, definitely Tennessee.
Nebraska, or is it too far gone? Is it over?
Not over.
Is that a
maybe
20th century thing?
Yeah, not too far gone, but it's over. I mean, that raucous crowd that used to follow Bill Walsh is no longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no longer.
What about Oregon and all the money Phil Knight has spent?
That's a really good one. Primarily because they're always knocking on the doorstep. They're always the sister, what do you call it, the bridesmaid or whatnot.
So who from the SEC that hadn't won it in the 21st century could be making a claim, hey, how about us?
Definitely Tennessee.
Definitely Tennessee.
Definitely
Who's next?
Tennessee.
And I want this at the Sissy's Log Cabin text line, 901-360-8255. The SEC team, other than Tennessee, that can really say we should be winning one sometimes in this 21st century thing.
Okay, knock on wood. It just escaped me, but I don't know why. It's easily Ole Miss, right down the road.
Finished today, 11th in AP.
Right down the road.
Thought this year was the year.
We have a great NIL down there. You got great recruits. You have a great coach. That home field is second to none, especially when you bring in the Alabamas and all of that good stuff. Ole Miss is due, and their fans want it.
So in the Ole Miss world, finish 10-3, win a bowl game, beat your biggest rival, Mississippi State, and finish 11th. Mm-hmm. And we're all bluer than blue.
Yeah, because they're giving him the Ryan Day treatment. They're saying win the big one.
No, he's not getting that yet.
Not yet.
He's not getting that yet.
But they want
and I don't think he deserves it because, look, so many people say it with derision. I am not. I am not saying it with one drop of derision. He's doing it at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So you can't have it both ways. You can't, well, it's Ole Miss. Well, hey, go out and win a championship. Well, wait a second, which one is it?
Yeah.
But things do change. Expectations change.
The NIL changed it too.
NIL changed.
NIL changed it a lot.
Ole Miss was right there.
Yeah.
I mean, finish 11th. The time to finish 11th was the final college football playoff ranking.
Yep.
11 gets you in.
Absolutely.
11 in final AP. Yep. Well, it's not bad.
And it's understood what happened. You know, all those teams they got the buys in the second round lost. So of course they're going to move up quite a bit. But like you said, the time to finish 11th wasn't right now. So
here's your final AP poll: 1 Ohio State, 2 Notre Dame, 3 Oregon, 4 Texas, 5 Penn State, 6 Georgia, 7 Arizona State, 8 Boise State, 9 Tennessee, 10 Indiana. All that top 10 that was playoff teams. 11 Ole Miss, 12 SMU from the playoffs, 13 BYU, 14 Clemson from the playoffs, 15 Iowa State, 16 Illinois, 17 Bama, 17, 18 Miami, 19 South Carolina, 20 Syracuse, 21 Army, 22 Mizzou, 23 UNLV, 24 Memphis, 25 Colorado.
Bama 17?
Memphis 11-2 and 24, and people are mad at Ryan Silverfield.
Yeah. It's because of
that's as crazy as the Ole Miss people being mad at Lane. Nobody's Nobody's as mad at Lane as they are people mad at Ryan here.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you can see, I have my Memphis Scully on, so I fancy myself as a U of M fan. That going to Texas and losing down in San Antonio is just it's reprehensible.
That was the straight pin into the balloon.
Reprehensible. You can forgive the other loss. The other loss had some good players, unique style,
on the road,
so on and so on. And we actually battled back a little bit. There was a big turnover. The
final score
didn't indicate what happened.
It really did.
Because they actually scored on that interception
we
the
had
last
a texter mad at me that next week every time I'd mention that final score.
About that interception?
Yeah,
the interception.
They were right because it really was not indicative of. In fact, that day I thought Seth was going to pull it out.
Yeah,
somehow.
We all thought he did.
But I thought Jackson Dart was going to pull it out against Kentucky. Mm-hmm. I can show you miserable.
Yeah. No, and it loves
and look what that cost. Yeah, ultimately.
Absolutely. But needless to say, like I said, that loss at San Antonio, that, like you said, that was the hole puncher. That was the one that I can't get over, the one we can't get over. And a lot of people. I've been hearing that has been killing Boise State for the way they looked in the playoffs. And I always can it because I'm not naive. I say we were Boise State. We are Boise State. So the same hole punching that they're doing at Boise State, I kind of take offense to it because I feel like that's what they would have done to the Tigers. Said you don't belong. You got to buy, but look at your performance when you were there.
Can Texas A&M think we can join that 21st century list from the SEC?
With their NIL, yes. With their coach,
with their money, their facilities,
with everything but the coach, yes.
But why haven't they ever done it?
I don't know.
Something always gets them.
Maybe they need to take a bigger swing at a coach.
A&M's been making big swings since they hired Bear in the 50s from Kentucky.
Right. Yeah, I forget about Jimbo. Yeah, Bear. Yeah, you're right.
They tried it.
They've tried it.
They tried hiring Mike Sherman from the NFL.
They've tried.
They tried Kevin Sumlin, the hot young coach on the way up.
He worked for a little while.
He worked as long as Johnny was there.
Yeah, he worked as long as Johnny was there.
He's Darian. I'm Brett. We're Sports Time. We hit this break. We'll be back with you after this.
Tiger Nation, don't miss the action when Memphis men's basketball returns to FedEx Forum for 2 games this week. The Tigers host Wichita State Thursday, January 23rd at 6, and then welcome UAB to the 901 Sunday, January 26 at noon for the Stripe Out game. It's time to stand up, Memphis, and support your Tigers at FedEx Forum for 2 big-time matchups you do not want to miss. Get your tickets now at GoTigersGo.com.
Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New DraftKings customers can bet just $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the code HERD, H-E-R-D. New customers get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Mid-South, it's time for a new year and a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Get 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage, a perfect compact hatchback for commutes, getaways, and just about everything else for $299 a month. Or buy Mirage for $18,410, gets 43 mpg highway. Or take your pick from 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid PHEV, named 2025 Family Green Car of the Year for 3 straight years. Or 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander, now just $399 a month. Plus, get peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today to start your year off right. 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Military rebate Mirage RHO 15630 MSRP 18410 PHEV RZO 66681 and SRP 42750. Outlander RZO 88655 and SRP 32770. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax file and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Now, Sports Time. Sports This hour is brought to you by Lexus Sports. Here are your hosts, Let's Talk Sports with Brian Gates.
It is so good to be with Darian Newsom. I swear we've been catching up during the break before the show because we haven't seen each other since last year.
Like bosom buddies.
Yes, yesterday you were at FedEx Forum, and it is always quite the scene. Did you go to the all-day festivity? Did you go to the symposium?
No, so I actually drove in directly from Atlanta, got home, took a quick hot shower, and headed on down. We were in Atlanta over the weekend, so I missed the symposium.
So you got the game, and the game was good. A low-scoring affair by modern NBA and Grizzly standards.
Definitely. Extremely low, especially at the halftime. I think the Grizzlies had 47 points, if I'm not mistaken, at halftime. So a lot of the bettors, including myself, were looking at the phone like, hey, you got to put some more points on the board. But one historic moment that came out of there, one historic moment, the Grizzlies had scored 100 points in every game this year. And going into the third quarter, they needed 29 points to get there. And luckily they did. So still one of the highest scoring teams in the league.
Busy week at FedEx Forum for the Grizzlies and for the Tigers. The Grizzlies back home tomorrow night against Charlotte, Friday night against New Orleans, and Sunday against Utah. And a busy week for the Tigers at FedEx Forum.
Oh, yeah. We were really anxious.
Sunday.
Really anxious to see how Penn bounces back and gets the boys back home. Luckily, they haven't fallen out of the top 25, and I really don't want to see that loss, but if it does happen, you can really see that kind of obscure loss knocking the Tigers down to 30, maybe 35. We hope it doesn't happen because I think we're mentally stronger. We're much better than we were last year. I just don't like our depth. Our depth is kind of starting to scare me a little bit.
Just get to the tournament, and that's when everybody's going to play seven or eight guys.
Yep, 6, 7, 8
Right now,
guys.
You can get a little bit exploited not having but 7 and 8 guys.
They in Philadelphia, they did just that. From the 3-point aspect, rebounds.
Right, you know me well.
Musa.
How do you think I treated the Temple loss? Freak out factor with 1 being no big deal and 10 pull the fire alarms and run for your lives.
8.
How do you think I treated it?
8. Where you went to?
Landed maybe
no,
1.
It was no panic
It was
at all.
either 8 or
maybe
2.
1.
Maybe
2.
1. It was a 2?
2 is closer.
Man, that's
I knew it wasn't in the middle because he doesn't play the middle range. So that if you give it, I was either 8 or 2.
Yeah.
It was one of the ones.
No, he was guaranteeing everybody that this was not panic mode.
No.
Now, if it was a loss at home, it would be a different story.
My take on it is if you're freaking now, I don't think you really ever thought the Tigers were that good.
Okay. I can see that. Or
and that may be the case. If you are in freak out, and I'm in freak out, and I didn't think they were very good.
No, I didn't go freak out, but those are the games that you hate to compare and look across the board. But when your teams are really, really good, you go in and you dominate those games. There's a lot of teams that at the end of the season that either raised the banner, got to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8, that those records showed that when you had those. Was that a quad 2 game? Was that even a quad 2 game?
Might work.
3, 2-ish. They don't lose those games. Those teams that raise those banners and have the fortitude to go deep into the tournament, when you look at the holistic body of work that they had, they don't lose those games. They lose quad 1 games.
But you said it. You said it for Final Four,
Yes.
Elite 8 teams.
Yes.
Is this team that?
They can be. I think when you shrink it to 6, 7, they can be.
Today's Joe Lunardi bracketology, for what that's worth, I know about what the paper it's printed on or the website it pops up on. Today he has Memphis as a 5 seed playing Bradley. Mm-hmm. Bring that on. Winner getting the winner of Illinois, Middle Tennessee.
Okay.
Bring that on.
Okay.
That's Sweet 16. That backs off everybody.
Absolutely.
Anybody. You don't say it's back to right after he got hired and into the first year of Penny Mania.
Yes.
You don't say a negative word about him if he's a Sweet 16 coach.
Absolutely.
And with that roster of elite coaches he's defeated in his career.
Absolutely. The only thing that scares me with a path like that is when we're in the tournament, for whatever reason, we get these uniquely built teams that play a certain way. And I think Bradley is one of those teams that play a certain style that we have to adjust to them instead of them having to adjust for us. You look back at the Missouri team that beat Tyreek or Arkansas State that they played a certain way and that our flex offense wasn't flexing anymore. Yeah. Now all of a sudden we had to focus on stopping them. And I think Bradley, just taking it for what it is right now.
That unique team, that's St. Louis U that Will Barton ran into.
Yes, that unique team where it's a team that plays a Princeton-style offense and they're back cutting the crap out of you. We just can't stop it.
And Majerus was just kind of plodding along. Another team today, local, Ole Miss. Take this bracket right now. Joe Buckets, be right. 4-seed Ole Miss opening against South Alabama. Bring it on.
Take that, yes.
Play it tonight. Play it tomorrow afternoon. Play it at 4 in the morning.
Yes.
Winner gets winner of Wisconsin Lipscomb.
Okay.
Bring on Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's Sweet 16.
That's Sweet 16 right there.
Chris Beard in year 2.
Absolutely. And I guarantee you he'll sign up for that. I guarantee you he will sign up for that right now.
In the Ole Miss basketball world, a Sweet 16?
Absolutely.
Been once and got blasted by UCLA in that one, but got there once, but once.
Oh, yeah. Chris Beard, if he were able to get that, I mean, hopefully he doesn't springboard that to something else because I'm pretty sure, I think wholeheartedly that's what he's.
He passed on Arkansas last year. I think he's going to tell them no. That might be for the long haul.
Coming from Texas, you think he got a big ego. I think he's looking for something big.
Well, he's had that job, though.
Yeah.
He had Texas Tech. He had Texas, and we know what happened. Today, Joe Lenardi has 12 from the SEC. I've never bought that many. Sure didn't buy 13 a few weeks ago. It's toggled back a little bit all the way to 11 one week. Today, 12. I don't think it'll be 12. I think it'll be 10 or 11.
Okay, 10's a good number. That's a very good number. Yeah, the SEC gets, especially nowadays. But I think we were talking about this. It had to be last year since you said we hadn't seen each other in person about 10 years ago.
Last calendar year.
Yeah, last calendar year, people. But the SEC took a hard look at basketball. If you recall,
sure did.
They took a hard look at it, and you look at the coaches that's guarding.
Get it right.
You look at Tennessee. You look down there at War Eagle. You look even at Arkansas down. Kentucky, so on and so forth. They took a hard look at themselves, and now it's paying dividends.
Yeah, they did and needed to, but still need to make some advance all the way to winning it. SEC, they haven't won it all since 2012, Anthony Davis in Kentucky.
Okay, I was about to go to Florida. You're right, Kentucky. Yeah,
and then Florida, the back-to-backs. The Big Ten, they haven't won it all since Michigan State in 2000. That's the only 21st century Big Ten national championship. Izzo in 2000.
That was Mateen Cleaves, tell you right.
And Mopeet.
Mopeet, correct. Didn't they come here? They played here en route, I think. I saw them in Memphis.
Next year.
Was it because they played North Carolina?
01, the next year with Zebo.
Sure was.
In 01 here.
I thought I saw them here. I thought I did.
Pyramid,
I thought I did. Okay.
Did you go to those games?
Yes, I did. I was there.
Did too.
I was there. So that's why I remembered. I think Fresno State was there.
Yeah, it was some odd teams.
Fresno
like
State
Cal,
was there. Yep.
Cal Berkeley was there.
Yep.
It was some odd teams. 1 hour in the books. When we come back, we'll talk college football with Brent Beard from down in Jacksonville. You're listening to Sports Time.
Everyone needs protection, whether you're on the field or on the road, so make sure you have the best. Bob Simpson State Farm Insurance can buckle you up with auto insurance, can back you up with life and health insurance, cover your business whether it's starting, growing, or maturing, and don't forget to insure your home, no matter if you're an owner or a renter. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call Bob Simpson today at 901-381-1233 or go online and get a free quote at bobsimpson.org. Stay protected with your good neighbor, Bob Simpson.
The Family Leisure floor model sales happening right now through the end of January. Family Leisure has got to get rid of all the 2024 inventory because all the new 2025 items are starting to arrive. All floor models are up to 50% off. You want a cold plunge tub? They start at $49.99. Go the other route with a hot tub. Get $3,000 off with free steps and chemicals. Family Leisure has pool tables, arcades, ping pong, air hockey, even tennis ball tables from 20 to 60% off. Well, here's it. Family Leisure has their sale up to 75% off. Plus, now's the time to start thinking about pool seats. You can buy it now, get on the installation schedule, and be ready before everyone else. Special financing is also available. Hey, if you want to get free delivery on any of these items,
Hold 650 acquisition fee, 20,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, EV6, 36-month lease, RU 6, 21,425, 36-month lease, MSRP 55,820, K4 SEO 64,461, MSRP 24,715, Telluride SG 596,204, MSRP 41,060, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through KFA, excludes tax title license with approved credit, dealer stock only, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 131/24.
I got Jeff Allen on the line. He's doing numbers I've never heard of before at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah.
Randy, when's the last time you heard of a new ride at $163 a month with electric EPA range of Estimate 310? I got it in a 2024 Kia EV6, $63.96 due at signing, 36-month lease. Or a 2025 K4 GT Line, $206 a month, $34.99 due at signing, 24-month lease. 2025 Telluride S front-wheel drive, $398 per month, $39.99 due at signing, 24-month lease.
And every Gossett Kia comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
This Rebel Young is back. Rebel Young online radio show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Nancy Porter with 24/7 Sports. Your Ole Miss defensive captain Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Moore covering SEC sports talk, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Garvey from kickoff hours through the extra innings. Your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Young online show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56 live 60 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South sports station. Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's picked up a little bit more volume going outbound on Sam Cooper, passing Highland and Perkins. Still moving over here right now in the Midtown area. 240 south. It's slowly but surely cranking up with a little bit more volume as you come southbound. There's definitely more volume out here today than it was yesterday as 40 starts to build across the Hernando de Soto Bridge over towards West Memphis. Hey, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital finds cures for kids with cancer and other life-threatening diseases. For donation information, check it out online at stjude.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11. College football talk every Tuesday with Brent Beard, Heisman voter, and on Twitter X at Brent Beard. SEC, ACC, AAC, we talk it all with Brent. Here's Brent Beard with Brian and Brent.
Thank you, Landon Schmidt. Darian Newsom in with me today. Bryant Dacus will be back tomorrow. It's time to talk college football with Brother Brent Beard. Brent, it is all over. College football season in the Lamb's Book of Life, isn't it?
Yeah, I have sadness about that, but it was the longest season that we have ever had. Certainly the concept of having a 12-team playoff, I think, was good. I've enjoyed it. We did a smart thing, hopefully, or will, in moving the transfer portal out of December into January or sometime, so it doesn't interfere with the playoff. We'll be interested to see the ratings from last night, but it's hard to believe they just come to an end.
Not only is college football over, it may be ending for you. Darian Newsom, who lived in Jacksonville for a while, our friend with me today, he's looking at this weather forecast, and I don't think you can buy enough bread and milk.
Yeah.
It's over for you, Brent. Nice knowing you.
People will this is an event that we don't have here very often. It is snowing and sticking in Pensacola and some other places.
Oh, it's
in
every
North
man for
Florida.
himself then.
So this is a big deal for us. Everybody's trying to stay off the road after about 7 or 8 tonight until
I told Darian during our last break, here is a fact of life, almost unarguable, this fact. If you have a palm tree, you are not built for snow and ice.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. This city is nowhere near being ready for snow and ice. I don't think we're going to get any snow. We may get any flurries, but we've got rain coming through later, and that's the thing we're concerned about.
Will we be able to make a snowball?
I doubt that too. But maybe
no snowmen either.
Snowball.
Yeah, but maybe a snow ice or an icicle.
Well, we had it here last week and across even the deeper south. Darren and I, we were talking the I-10 corridor in Louisiana. I can't think of anywhere on earth more unready for a flake, much less what they've received.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, obviously I-10 starts in Jacksonville and goes from there.
If you have an alligator, you should not have a snowman.
No, that's true. Yeah, well, we have plenty of the former, very few of the latter, yes.
Okay, Brett. So last night we wrapped up the first 12-team college football playoffs, and I want to stick with the Ryan Day standpoint because I think today is a day to give him his flowers. Who knows when he'll get those again or even get an opportunity to do it again. The way things are going, as Brett said, he earned it. So last night, what did Ryan Day do for his legacy after replacing Urban Meyer in the hierarchy of great Ohio State coaches?
Anytime you win a ring, that means something to your fan base, and he will never forget it, and people will never let him forget it. They should not. As evidence to that, Urban Meyer, who flamed out in his last several jobs, has 2 rings from the University of Florida, and even though a lot of the Bull Gators don't care that much, believe it or not, for Urban, they will never forget those 2 rings, and they will never give them back. So it did. I mean, look, at this point, without the 12-team playoff, it's or even the 4-team playoff, likely Ryan Day would not have had the chance that he had. So that loss to Michigan woke them up, and they really decided to play ball after that. Incorporate their wide receivers, which they didn't against Michigan. So the people who wanted to run him off are hailing him as a hero today.
And if you don't think times have changed, Brent, I was talking earlier, a college football time long time ago, that end of the year loss to Michigan, not only would that eliminated them from national championship contention, they wouldn't have even gone to a single bowl game. It was go to the Rose Bowl as the champion or stay at home. So we've really had the evolution from that. Ohio State, they won it all with Tressel, 1, 2 with Urban Meyer. Look, the next time he wins one, and he will win one again, he joins Urban, and that's good league.
It is. There's no doubt. And look, to further your point, Brett, without the playoff, if we had done this before, after that loss to Michigan, we don't know this, but they may have fired him after that.
Yeah.
So the 12-team playoff, if nothing else, saved his job, I believe.
Give me a grade on the playoff. Everything around it.
I would say it would be a.
The mechanics.
I would say it'd be a B. I mean, they needed to recede it at a certain point.
They'll learn from it.
They will. It was a guinea pig type of a year. I think the thing they really do need to look at is now. Look, I love talking college football until the 20th of January, but I will certainly admit the space between the games was too much.
Yeah.
Georgia playing a championship SEC game and then not playing for basically a month.
You think that's what we're used to, though, Brent? Our age group, we're used to January 1 wrapping things up.
We are.
Well, there's a lot more people that's not used to that, though. There's a lot more of them than are us left.
Agree. There's 2 things that have happened. So you've got folks saying, "Well, I wish we could go to 8." Well, folks, that ain't happening.
Not going backwards.
We're not going backwards. We're going forwards. Either 14 or 16 is one thing with it, and people or I think one of the big questions: how many home games do they have? Do they go beyond the first round, or do they go to the bowls? I know.
What would you do? More home or go to the bowls?
Well, I'm torn about that, and this is why. I like the home games. I like the atmosphere, but quite selfishly, down here in the Gator Bowl, they are about to or have started on redoing this Gator Bowl, and it's going to be state of the art. And to have Jacksonville have a playoff game every year would be incredible here.
Would be. And Brent, you know I had a great time at the Gator Bowl. A large percentage of it was because I got to see and spend time with you. But that stadium, it needs spending on it. I couldn't believe that locker room is an NFL locker room.
Yeah. It kind of is startling when you first see it, isn't it, Brett?
I mean, almost every
that
SEC visitor locker room is better than that.
Yeah, agreed. But the main thing
here in Memphis at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, the Tigers locker room and the visitors locker room in the north end zone much nicer than that locker room at Everbank Field, Everbank Stadium.
Well, the biggest thing they're going to do along with the locker rooms is they're not going to put a dome on it, but they are going to put a
sheathing. Yeah.
Yes, a quasi roof, an overhang, however you want to put it.
That was proposed here in the mid '70s, and the architectural design was similar to that covering they had in '72 in Munich at the Olympic Stadium.
And hey, Brett, if they'd have done it then, I know they'd have had to work on it again after that with maintenance. But my Lord, you think about the price in '72 compared to the price now, would be unbelievable.
Well, in Memphis, if you would have had that, you would have turned it into a tomato hothouse. We would have sweltered under that thing.
Yeah. Well, that is the carrot for building the stadium all along here, or rebuilding the stadium, is to put a semi-roof on it that would at least keep people for a while in some kind of shade.
Mm-hmm. Brett, you are in SEC country as well as we are. So this is the big question that I've been hearing in my circles and just around the city, so to speak. A lot of the SEC fans will not give up the ghost to Big Ten and say, you guys are king right now. So respectfully, what do you say to the SEC fans who are still, hey, we've won X amount this century or for its championships, so on and so forth. Big Ten has won 2 in a row. What do you say to those teams that those fans that just will not give them the respect? And what team can they look forward to kind of dismantle this, if it can be dismantled next year?
Well, I think it's a balance. There's no way to ignore what the SEC has done over the last 20 years or so. But for the here and the now, and that's all people care about, unfortunately.
No 30-year mortgage in sports.
Is the the Big Ten has done something that they really haven't done basically since the Great Depression, which is win a couple in a row. Who steps up? I think probably Texas certainly is not going away, particularly with Arch Manning. Neither is Georgia. They've still got players. And we'll have all off-season to get on this, but the thing that we're seeing again is the lack of depth, in that what the league used to have is those second and third team players who frankly could have started for a lot of other teams. Well, right now not only are they starting, but they're getting paid for doing that, and that has presented the SEC with a real lack of depth right at this point.
Brent, we'll have the magazines come out in May, and I think one of the common denominators, the magazine covers, will be filled with Arch Manning. It's going to be his summer of love. A lot of pressure on him. They open at Ohio State next year.
Sure do. Yeah, that's going to be a really good opener. And they ended up fourth, obviously. But it was, I mean, it was a good year for them. We know what Arch can do. He'll be ready to play. So I'm looking at the odds already out. I mean, Georgia's 6-1, Texas 7-1, Bama's 12-1, LSU, Ole Miss, and Tennessee 25-1, and A&M 30-1. So that those are the teams they're looking at already that could make a difference next year.
Yeah, and all those odds out by Vegas, you know, I don't know that I would make my college football playoff plans based just off those.
No.
But Vegas is not doing it just for funsies.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. Well, and there are all kinds of way too early top 25s out right now, and I get that. People usually do that this time of year. They need some content for that. But I'm always curious to see what that Vegas is saying about these teams, and I'm always curious to see on what basis they're making those. So they tend to know some things in Vegas, so that would be interesting to see how much of that comes true.
Brent, I really do like Kirby Smart a lot as a guy and as a football coach, and what he's done is remarkable. They hired him to get them a long-awaited national championship. He's already been better than Mark Richt. He's won it twice, but between last year and this year, and maybe one other, shouldn't he really have 3 already? I know he's got 2, and that's rare. That's significant, but won't Georgia almost start doing to him what Tennessee fans did to Philip Fulmer, that it's not going to be enough unless you win it all? I think they may be there now. No question. And Kirby was the one who said pretty much the whole season, when people ask him what's wrong, he said, "Well, we just don't have the depth. But we don't have the players that we used to." And look, this year was it was a tough year for them. They led the nation in drop passes. That offensive line was not very good. Let's be honest about that. I mean, Carson Beck was up and down and all around. So they have a long way to go. Now they'll be looked upon again as a challenger and so forth. But no, that's a good point. The fans starting to get restless. We have a lot of them in this area. I'll say it's not. They're not rushing the castle with pitchforks and torches, but there is a little bit of grumbling as how soon can we win another one? I would tell them to be real careful. You don't ever want to get too satisfied.
No.
But I wouldn't make perfection the goal, because what they want a Bama dynasty.
They do.
When most everybody else would be satisfied with just getting the 2 that they have.
Exactly. Oh yeah, exactly. And the conditions that we had with the Bama dynasty just aren't going to happen again. I mean, that run and that coach, and all that goes along with it. And even Kirby has admitted this. Saban went 17 years. Kirby said, "There's no way I'll do that."
No. The money they've made, I don't see any of these guys coaching, past 62 or 63 years of age.
No. They won't be coaching in their 70s, will they, Brett? Like Nick was.
No, and he was doing it well to his last loss was in the national semis.
That's right. Oh yeah. It's hard to beat that one. But yes, it's a different day now. If you won the recruiting ratings, you could usually count on a very good year, or in the near future a very good year.
And look what it got Tennessee not being satisfied. Now, Fulmer just had one, but he was in the mix for a lot of years after that one. Probably should have, could have won it all in 2001, in 2001, but nothing would please them, and they ran him out, and look what it created.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it created an unbelievable instability that really haunted them up until the last few years.
Britt, quick question. Speaking of Coach Saban and all the other coaches we were just talking about, Jim Harbaugh was 60 years old last year when he won the national championship. Other than that, Kirby Smart and now Ryan Day, both coaches in their 40s. What coach is the face of college football right now since Coach Saban has left?
Well, I mean, you can make the argument that Ryan Day is because he won it, but I think if you, I think it probably still, it probably still may be Kirby. Because of what they have done over the
but not
last several. So I would say him, but that's a really good question.
It really is,
frankly.
And after you get past Kirby, Dabo, Ryan Day, then who? Dan Lanning, James Franklin.
Well, I would go with Lanning.
Sark.
I think there's more excitement.
Heupel.
I would go with Lanning probably next, just because that's almost on potential. But everybody thinks he is the hot guy that they could that they would be capable of maybe winning it in the next year or two.
And I remember a hot guy that's not so hot anymore.
I
Lincoln Riley.
Yeah,
I was thinking Lane Kiffin.
Well, he's hot. He's hotter now than he's ever been.
Yeah, he is, and really still had a tremendous roster on that way. I would not say James Franklin, even though to his credit, they got further than a lot of people thought that they would be. But no, Riley definitely not. And until Riley figures out that you got to play defense, that's not changing.
So the heavyweight class of coaching is just a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It really is. I would agree. Which means, if you come in now and you get hot and you get into 2 or 3, 4 Final Fours in a row, it would go up. Now, I will say this: Marcus Freeman in his first 3 years, winning 9, 10, and 14
on the way.
I mean that's pretty strong, frankly. Listen, I give him a lot of credit.
And a tough job.
I thought that was going to be a really, basically, one of these easy transition jobs because the players loved him, and I never really thought that would work. But and I tell you what, even with some of the limitations they've got at Notre Dame, he did a tremendous job with them now, and their schedule helped them tremendously, but you still got to win it.
I asked this question of Darian earlier. I'll ask it of you. If LSU could have Marcus Freeman as their head coach or Brian Kelly, in their heart of hearts, fan poll, who do you think they would really want?
I think they'd probably be enamored enough with Freeman of where they would go with him.
You always want the future.
Sure you do.
Absolutely.
Sure you do. And that doesn't mean that Kelly can eventually get it done. I mean, I don't think Kelly's forgotten how to coach all the way around, but would you if you stop a lot of people on the interstate here or there, would they look at would they mention Kelly as an elite coach if you ask them to name 3 or 4 of them?
No,
I don't think they would.
Yeah, you guys just didn't when we were naming them. I don't think his name came up.
Took a while for his name to come up.
Took a while for his name.
And it came up then negatively.
Yep, absolutely. Britt, one quick question, and Britt, you can jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. My notes say that there were only 4 active coaches with college football championships, but if you remove Mac Brown and Jim Harbaugh, that only leaves 2. Well, I guess now 3 when you add Ryan Day. So is that accurate? Day, Sweeney, and Smart are the only active coaches with rings?
That's right, isn't it?
That's right?
I think it is.
Wow.
A
lot of room for growth for a lot of people.
You've had these recent retirements, like Saban, who has diminished that list. But that now look, what we could spend a segment on this. What does that tell you, though? It tells me that help me on this, Brett. I'm not saying the job is well. I guess I will say the job is harder.
That's what you just said.
It is.
It
is that hard.
Because of this NIL stuff.
The heavyweight class, the Pantheon, it's reserved for only a few. If everybody could do it, it wouldn't be the Pantheon.
No, it really wouldn't. But I would think when Brett and I started covering this stuff, it was. I mean, you had good coaches, but you also had the AP Wire selecting your national champion. Also, until we we started doing things a little bit differently. So,
but we went high tech, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, if you had the top 2 or 3 recruiting classes 4 or 5 years in a row, and one of those was a really good quarterback, you could count on that team either winning the national championship or being involved with it for at least a couple of
Florida
those
State
years.
with Charlie Ward.
Yeah, that's not guaranteed anymore.
It's not. Brent, guaranteed this. We have you every week, and we love it.
Well, I love it, too. Certainly appreciate you guys. You guys
safe.
are weather veterans, and we are rookies down here that need all the prayer we can get over the next 24 hours.
We have 1 snowplow. Y'all have 0.
No, don't sell yourself short, Brett. I was down there last year, and the hurricane scared the hell out of me. So,
well, now listen, you're talking this.
That's a different kind of weather there.
We're used to that.
Yeah.
People just yawn when they hear hurricanes around here. Boy, another one. But listen, they're scared to death when you're talking about ice and snow.
Well, we hope we have you back next week.
Please.
Thank you, Brent.
Take care.
Brent Beard with us from First Coast News down in Jacksonville. He was on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. Sissy's Log Cabin, the official jeweler of the Memphis Grizzlies, that great location at 4542 Poplar. Bill Jones, his great team, here to stay. Also, supporters of Tiger Athletics. And during college football season, every single Monday, they brought you the look back at the SEC weekend every Monday at 4:30. The Mid-South's largest selection of one-of-a-kind jewelry, engagement rings, wedding bands, necklaces, earrings, 9,000 square foot store in Laurelwood with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and more. Since 1970, with all the great locations across the Mid-South, the official jeweler for the Memphis Grizzlies and FedEx Forum with the Floor Seat Lounge. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary shopping experience because life's too short for ordinary jewelry. We talk Memphis Tigers. We do it next with Matt Infield from Action News 5.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You need unique and personalized products. Expressions has got you. 12 custom embroidered polo shirts or trucker walk-ups starting at $180. Custom embroidered fleece lighter jackets starting at $99. Custom life-size cutouts and photo boards from 2 to 10 feet tall. 3D laser glass photos just in time for Valentine's Day starting at $49. Expressions has a wide selection of promotional products and many printing options. Expressions, Wolf Chase Galleria, upper level near Dillard's. Call 901-585-1970 for information and details. Expressions, creating advertisement with Expressions.
For 75 years, Americans have been falling in love with Volkswagen, and we gossip Volkswagen Germantown. Hey, what's up over there, Marty McMahon?
Do your Lightning. Take your pick range from a 2025 Jetta Sport or 2024 Volkswagen Taos SE, $249 a month.
Jetta or Taos, $249 a month. What else you got?
2024 Tiguan S or 2025 Jetta SE, $279 a month.
Tiguan S or Jetta SE, $279 a month?
That's right. And all 2024 Atlas SEL Peak Edition, $5,000 off MSRP.
So get to Gossett Volkswagen Germantown and ask for Marty McNay.
Remember, your future is what you make it.
That's Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road. Online, GossettVWG.com.
Good afternoon. Traffic's picked up out here the last few minutes through the Midtown area, especially on 240 South at South Parkway. It's gotten heavier on 40 westbound right at Danny Thomas as that traffic builds across Hernando to Soto Bridge. Limited radar earlier down I-40 in certain parts of Arkansas, headed out towards Forest City. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your Valentine's Day headquarters. Shop local this Valentine's season and save a lot of money at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Thank you, Landon. We'll have Bryant back in here tomorrow, but we got Darian Newsom co-hosting with me today. And I know he spends a lot of time with our next guest, and we normally have our next guest at 3:30 on Tuesday, but he wanted to push it back to 4:30 and anything to make him happy because we love having Matt Infield from Action News 5 with us to talk Tigers. He started way back in August, predominantly Tiger football then, and we're going to go all the way through, we hope, the Final Four. Good afternoon, Matt Infield.
Hey, just so you guys know, one, I spent way too much time with Darian on the weekends at Action News 5. Two, had to push back from 3:30 to 4:30 because of the dentist, which is always fun, but mainly good report from them, so now let's talk some ball.
No pain at the dentist?
One cavity, minor one, though. I don't feel anything, so we'll be good. We'll get it filled up and good to go.
Good deal. All right, let's go back to last Thursday night in Philadelphia. Darian was surprised at my lack of freak out from it because I wrote that off to life on the road. One or two, maybe three of those on the road will happen. Matt, the unpardonable for me, can't lose at home.
Yes, I agree. And I said after that game, as long as it didn't snowball from there, you're fine. I think anyone, even as supremely talented as this team is compared to everyone else in the conference, probably unrealistic to think they were ever going to go undefeated in conference play. I know some people will bring up 2008 and the way that...
Yeah, that doesn't happen every year.
Player on top of Chris Douglas Roberts and all the other guys on that team. But, yeah, I'm with you. You know, you're going to have those. As long as it didn't, like I said, snowball into more losses from there, then you're fine. And even that game, the disconcerting part of that game was just losing the 50-50 balls and getting slaughtered on the offensive glass the way they did. And a lot of that is kind of heart and hustle. And, you know, 30 in the second half, didn't make much of an imprint in the first half. So, just kind of a lot of little things added up, and even though, you know, you look up 5 minutes to go and they're down by 2, and you're like, all right, they might be able to steal this one, even though they played probably a C-minus game, and then really, you know, Petty said afterwards, and I kind of felt in the moment, free throws, and the Tigers gave up 2 offensive rebounds in a row off of that. Jamal Mashburn Jr. nails a 3, gives them a 5-point lead. Kind of felt like that was the moment where it got away from them for good, but yeah, I'm with you. You know, if you have a couple of these losses on the road, you'll be fine. It's when you lose games like they did last year, the USF, and especially the Rice at home, where you really put yourself in peril.
Yeah, and that Rice loss last year, I said the next day, and I still believe it, it was the worst home conference loss in Tiger basketball history. You can't have that.
Yeah, I think that we talked about the day after that game last year. I think we talked about that might have been the worst loss in program history, period. I mean, not in terms of quality to opponent and, talent difference and whatnot. Obviously, there were some more important games that Tiger fans would probably bring up, which I don't have to mention here. But, yeah, I think that the talk after the Rice loss last year was that might have been the worst, most embarrassing loss in program history. So if you avoid those this year and you drop, like you said, I think 3 is probably the magic number. Once you get past 3, then you might be playing with fire a little bit. But
I remember
a couple of those on the road. Yeah, right. If you have a couple of those on the road, you'll be fine.
I remember that conversation now. Now, I go way back, Matt. And in the 70s, late 70s, I think in 79, I think Coach Dana Kirk's first or second year when he was trying to get the Titanic turned around, it was either Wisconsin Superior or Wisconsin Parkside, somebody like that in the late 70s. It stuck with me for a long time.
Well, my first market, I was in a small market in Wisconsin, and so when you said Superior, I mean, Superior is way up there. Parkside is now, I believe, the only Division II school in Wisconsin. So, yeah, I can imagine way back when those were probably some pretty embarrassing losses. But
let me put it to you like this. It was not the Badgers. It was Wisconsin somebody.
No, yeah, right. Yeah, but from what I can remember, certainly Rice at home last year takes the king.
Gotcha.
Hey, what's going on, Matt? Question.
What up, man?
So, Penny Hardaway, he has this team. I would expect right where he wants him. I mean, he has the team listening. I think he has a new coaching staff. Everything's going the right way except for bonehead losses like what we just suffered against Temple. So I want to know from a standpoint of his roster, are we missing Tyreek Smith at all?
Yeah, I think
Great
so.
question.
I actually do. And I think I've said I was cool with the Dante Harris ad. I was a little surprised they didn't go get a big just because I think the guard rotation is pretty solid, although Dante Harris apparently is taken, at least in the Charlotte game on Sunday, in the rotation. And it makes sense a little bit more offensively than Baraka does. But, yeah, I think when you look at it, I think we brought it up a couple times. I've said one of my biggest issues with this year's team is that the bigs seem to often be in foul trouble, specifically Musa and Zane, and you basically have a 3-man big rotation, and the problem is right now the third big, I think we said it for a couple weeks now, Nick Jourdain's not playing good ball right now. It just is what it is. I think he could get back to what he was last year, but he really hasn't played well for an extended stretch, and that means you've got 2 bigs you can count on, and it's nice that they bring different things. Musa, the rim protector, hyper-athletic defensive guy, and then Dave, the dancing bear, can kind of get you buckets at will down low, and he's a really good passer as well. But I think they probably could stand to have a third big guy that can really contribute and maybe do a little bit of both, especially when Nick is not playing as best. So I think they're surviving without a Tyreek Smith right now, but I do think that they are missing having a fourth competent big in the rotation.
The guard-oriented Tigers, the guard play, it's been terrific. Can that carry them, though? We know once you get to the tournament, it's predominantly guard play, but can they get to the preferred seed, the cozy seed, with just being so guard-oriented?
I think in this conference, probably. I'm trying to think of, and I don't know every roster in this league top to bottom, but I think we discussed last week just the idea that a team with 2 premier bigs could probably be the real kryptonite for the team. A team like Auburn. Obviously, there was no Auburn in the American, and the Tigers saw what a prime Auburn could do. But even, the idea that guards carry you in the tournament, I think that there is a lot of validity to it. But, you think about the national championship game last year, and obviously that UConn team was so loaded, but I think that most people would have probably said the premier player on that UConn team last year was Donovan Quaid, and obviously the team that they beat, Purdue, was carried by a guy that we now see in Memphis on a daily basis in Zach Edey. So, even at UConn the year before that, when they won their first championship, the big guy's name is slipping my name. He was really awesome in that tournament, though. So, don't get me wrong. I think that it is good to be led by guys that have the ball in their hands a lot and can create on their own and kind of be that difference maker in that regard. But, the randomness of the tournament, I think that you would like to shield yourself against any type of matchup possible. And, like I said, I think that if they run into a team with a couple of high-level bigs, which there are not a lot of them out there, but if they run into one, that's where I think they could really be in trouble.
Anybody in conference that really scares you?
No, there's no one. To me, it's pretty simple. Like, if the Tigers bring the requisite energy, effort, and intensity on a nightly basis, they should roll through anyone in this conference. Again, bring the requisite energy, effort, and intensity in this conference is difficult because it's human nature, and they understand. They know that they're much better than the majority of the team. So I don't know that there's anyone that I would say would scare me as a Tiger fan in conference play. But it's just a matter of, I think we said it before, if they're not their own worst enemy, they'll be fine. And it's just a matter of making sure that they come in with the right mentality, especially in the really important games.
Sports 56 Sports Time here, and we're here with my sports weekend anchor, Matt Enfield of Action News 5. Matt, I want to switch gears for you just a bit and take you back to yesterday, the MLK game with the Grizzlies, getting the slim margin of victory win, but hey, we'll take it. So I have a kind of a two-part question, so just hear me out. As of yesterday, last year, January 20th, the Grizzlies were 15 and 27 in 13th place last year.
That's about right.
Yeah, this year they're in third place. What's the biggest difference? And I want to throw a low-hanging fruit out there because I don't believe it's as simple as just saying Ja. So that's the question. Is it as simple as just saying Ja? I say no because I see a huge difference in Jaren Jackson Jr.
Well, I think Jaren's definitely taken a leap this year, and that's it's been a huge part of why they've had the success they've had. The reason why they were 13th last year, though, and 15-27 at this point, it might not have only been Ja, but it might have been that they had some of the worst injury luck we've seen in the NBA in recent memory. It wasn't just Ja that the Bay was missing time. Jaren was relatively healthy, but it's had so many guys that were out, just on a nightly basis. It was kind of crazy. The essays and novels that were coming out from Grizz PR of injury reports on a nightly basis. It was pretty wild to think about. But I will say, besides Jaren taking the lead, which is obvious, because I've said he has been their best player this year, which is not really a slight at Ja as much as it is a compliment to the way that Jaren has elevated his game. I think that last year, remember this time, they were counting on guys like Laravia's at the back end of the rotation now, but someone like a David Roddy, who I just don't think is, with all due respect to him, a quality NBA rotation player, but he was someone that they were pretty dependent on last year. And now this year, they're one of the deepest teams in the league, and you can almost make the argument potentially too deep, if that's such a thing. Because
so too.
I think eventually they're going to have to trim the rotation down. But yeah, they're deeper, and their stars have been mostly healthy. John's obviously missed the time, and Jaren, like you said, has taken a huge leap this year. I think there's no doubt about it. If the Grizzlies only have one All-Star representative, which is the way it's trending right now, it probably one of most. I think it has to be Jaren Jackson Jr. He's been that good this year.
What did you think of Gigi in his return?
So it was interesting that Taylor Jenkins said post-game, actually the plan was not for Gigi to play yesterday. He didn't plan on having him in the rotation, but he kind of told him to stay ready. And then they got off to a hot start initially, and then went cold. And he said that he felt like he needed to give a jolt of energy, which I imagine Santi Aldama. I've been very complimentary of him this year for good reason, but Santi was terrible yesterday, as was Jake Moravia. So I think Taylor Jenkins saw those guys struggling and said, "Hey, I wasn't planning on playing you, but it's your time." And he had, he played 10 minutes and he had a nice dunk and he had a pretty nice layup over Gobert. Kind of looked like he was knocking the rust off a little bit, but that kid's really talented. I think he's going to fit with a lot of different lineups they play. I think the new offense in time is going to help him. And, Jenkins said that, he was actually pretty impressed with his defense yesterday. So I think that he's going to be a contributor for this team down the stretch.
January 28th, 1980, Wisconsin Parkside, the Rangers 71, Memphis State Tigers 69.
I'd be curious if Parkside was a D2 school then, because I know, like I said, from my time covering sports in Wisconsin for nearly 4 years, basically you've got the Badgers, and then you've got UW Green Bay and Milwaukee as your mid-majors, and then the rest of the state is almost entirely D3 schools except for Parkside, which is the lone D2 school of the state. So I wonder if they were back then or not. But yeah, I imagine that was not well received then either.
And that's why last year I qualified it as conference, because I remembered that year, that same year, earlier that year, they lost to Oklahoma Christian, not Oklahoma City, but Oklahoma Christian.
Never heard of them.
Got hammered by them, lost by 14.
How times have changed. Yeah,
it didn't go over well either.
Let's avoid this conversation across conference and not conference this year. How about it?
You got it, Matt. We will talk next week. Thank you, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You got it. Matt Infield from Action News 5, talking Memphis Tigers. I knew my old brain was right.
Yes. 100% right.
Wisconsin Parkside.
100%
and
right.
You got to remember, in those days, there was one radio show, and it melted the next day from losing to Wisconsin Parkside.
So callers they let off of them back then, didn't they?
The best thing about a new year is getting something new to drive, and you can do it at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, where all the Silverados are. Get $1,500 back in extra savings when you trade in a 2011 or newer passenger car or light-duty truck. 1.9 financing on new Blazers, or 2.9 with no payments for 90 days on a new Equinox. You can be payment-free until April. Your good credit deserves it, and you get it at All-Star. If you're law enforcement, first responder, healthcare worker, military, educator, recent grad, an extra instant $500 bonus back. Nobody has the certified and pre-owns like All-Star Chevy, Sierra trucks, Nissans, Toyotas, Fords, Silverados, Jeeps, and you got to drive that red Corvette Stingray. And if you got any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star, whether you bought it there or not, and you'll get the most money back for it. Best trade, best deal anywhere. Together, let's drive to All-Star Chevy for the fresh start sale to 2025 going on now in Olive Branch. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com. When we come back, we'll have our big number of the day.
For 75 years, Americans have been falling in love with Volkswagen, and we gossip Volkswagen Germantown. Hey, what's up over there, Marty McNeil?
Any of these big savings, take your big range from a 2025 Jetta Sport or 2024 Volkswagen Taos SE, $249 a month.
Jetta or Taos, $249 a month. What else you got?
2024 Tiguan S or 2025 Jetta SE, $279 a month.
Tiguan S or Jetta SE, $279 a month?
That's right. And all 2024 Atlas XELT edition, $5,000 off MSRP.
So get to Gossip Volkswagen Germantown and ask for Marty McNeil.
Remember, your future is what you make it.
That's Gossip Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road, online, gossipvwg.com.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five-Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
You know,
I think people forget there's a Central Barbecue location in South Haven.
And that's on us.
Well, you.
What does that mean?
Well, you're the spokesperson for Central Barbecue. It's your responsibility to remind people there's a Central Barbecue in South Haven.
It's very convenient that I'm the spokesperson when there's responsibility to be taken.
Just mention the Central Barbecue location in South Haven.
Got a lot to remember. There's the location on Butler downtown. There's a location on Summer, on Poplar.
And Getwell Road in South Haven. How hard is that?
I've heard you call yourself a spokesperson for Central Barbecue.
No, it was just to pick up chicks.
The Family Leisure floor model sales happening right now through the end of January. Family Leisure has got to get rid of all the 2024 inventory because all the new 2025 items are starting to arrive. All floor models are up to 50% off. You want a cold plunge tub? They start at $49.99. Go the other route with a hot tub. Get $3,000 off with free steps and chemicals. Family Leisure has pool tables, arcades, ping pong, air hockey, even foosball tables from 20 to 60% off. Want beers in? Family Leisure has theater seating up to 75% off. Plus, now's the time to start thinking about pool seats. You can buy them out on the installation schedule and be ready before everyone else. Special financing is also available. Hey, if you want to get free delivery on any of these items, you just tell the phone staff at Family Leisure that you heard this commercial. It's the floor model. So now, through the end of January, Family Leisure, with 100 I-40, family and fun come together. Sportstime on Sports 56 and 95 once again, Brett Rosary and Ryan Davis.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
All righty, Landon and Brett, my big number of the day. You ready for it? Kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. My big number of the day is 70, 7-0. It's kind of twofold, so check this out. After the Buckeyes' big win in their first national championship since 2014, Ryan Day's record overall is 70-10, although it is 1-4 versus the University of Michigan, which they don't like. So that 70 number rang very loud to me because it is also the number of the total win margin in the college football playoffs by the Ohio State Buckeyes. Almost half of those points, 70, which was 39, came against two SEC teams, Tennessee by 25 and Texas by 14. They beat the number one ranked Oregon Ducks by 20, and yesterday they won by 11 versus Notre Dame. So my big number of the day is 7. I'm not even going to check your math. I'm going to
go with trust on 70.
My big number of the day is 70. Yeah, I actually
he didn't have to play Michigan. He really would have a record.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. That's the big number of the day.
And a lot less gray hair, but he has no gray hair because he dyes his beard.
That's what Harden is just. He calls him just for men, man. I was like, get off of him. He's a champion.
We don't want John dyeing his, though, do we?
No, of course not. Of course not. The salt and pepper works. And as I told
have you ever been here or been around John when he had real long hair? I mean, real long.
Not real long.
When I first met him, when I first met him, it was way down.
It's probably a picture that's still on the website because he looks 20 years younger.
Probably so. Well, John can have some hard days.
He looks 20 years younger.
And I was telling you earlier, I didn't know if I trusted the cookies or not.
Oh, no, John, they're still there.
I'd hate to eat 2 cookies and have to order a king-size pizza.
You're going to need a big one. Going to need a big one. He said those are all good, though. He gave me a Scouts honor. Landon, you want to try what?
Landon, you going to be the guinea pig?
No guinea pig.
My big number is a percentage. It's .739. That was the number for the team that had the most rushing yards in the bowls. It always wins. It always wins over passing, and it's always usually a little bit higher. It's usually around 75%. I only promised 75% on opening day in the SEC, but .739, that was 34-12 Out of the 46 bowl games, passing was 22 and 24, so 478. And I used to have a raging debate with someone here that it didn't matter. That he would say that you have to throw the ball to win, and I would always point to it. So for years I was trying the right corollary, so I finally found it this year. If you went in and you had surgery and the doctor told you we can do this procedure and it has a 739 effective rate,
Yes.
or we can try this one and it may work, but it's 478.
No.
Only a fool goes, give me the 478.
No, don't give me the 478. Please don't.
No, give me that
not at all.
739.
No, not at all. And plus, running the ball has to correlate with that clock, too. I'm pretty sure.
It works on the clock, and also this. I love the comebacks in college football. Differently than the NFL, yes, they have sack yardage. They count that as rushing yards. You have that big quarterback sack for 15 yards that goes against the rushing total. But what that's doing, that means that your defense is controlling that other team.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. They're not only they're keeping controlling the other team, they're imposing their will. They're controlling the team. They're imposing their will, and for whatever reason, you're probably knocking the other team out of their offensive
I love John
stride.
Harden's take. It was not that first drive.
Yes.
He was right. It was not sustainable.
No, he said once
you can't do that all night.
You can't do it all night, and for some reason,
you
Notre
couldn't
Dame
do that all night when we even ran it more than we do now.
Yeah,
way back.
Well, a different team may have. I don't think Notre Dame had the horses. I think that's what John was getting to. The horses that Ohio State had versus what Notre Dame. Yeah, you can trick them so long that they're just bigger, stronger, faster came into play.
And we talked a lot of college football today. In the end, I think the best team's holding the trophy.
Absolutely. Again,
usually works out that way.
Yes, absolutely. If you take down two SEC teams, so the SEC can't say they ducked nor dodged them.
Went right through them.
Went right through them. You can't say they didn't knock off the number one team who had already beat them. They got that win back in the bag. And the probably most deserving team of all that showed their face there was Notre Dame, and they dismantled them.
It's a little kid word. If Georgia had upset Notre Dame, do you think if Georgia had got all the way to those finals, they would have fared any better than Notre Dame did last night?
Not without a quarterback.
No,
not without Vic.
I don't either.
Not without Carson.
I saw Georgia in person one time this year. Watched them on TV a lot. Saw them in person one time all year, the day of the Ole Miss game, and it was the Ole Miss best play of the year, best game of the year. Won 28-10, and that was the slimmest margin Ole Miss could have won that day by. Was 18. It controlled that day in that game.
Oh, absolutely. If Ohio State had a play, I mean, even a notch or two below what they did, I still believe that they would have come victorious in that. And the Georgia team, the only Georgia team I think that probably could have withstood the quarterback deficit or lack thereof is maybe the team from 2 or 3 years ago with the Jalen Carters, with the N'Kobe Deans of the world. Maybe that defense could have carried them because they had a lot of guys that played on Sunday.
That's some stellar names you've just rattled off there.
Absolutely. I think that
they don't come along all the time.
They don't come along that often. That's why they're special.
That's right.
Why they're special. But I think they could have held pack with them.
The
But other than
Kobe
that,
Dean injury makes me sick.
Oh yeah. And then he won't be able to play this Sunday. Oh yeah, that's right. He would have been there.
Yeah,
that's right. N'Kobe didn't get well soon.
Yeah,
I think it's a torn patella.
Yeah, it looked terrible. The snow game was great though Sunday. Wasn't it?
Pride of Horn Lake.
Yeah, sure was big
Horn Lake.
and was a good running back in high school as well. Yeah.
I know he played both sides.
Can you
of the
imagine
ball.
him coming at you?
Yeah, but most of those guys and great athletes, once they get to that next level, they all played both sides of the ball in high school. They were monsters on both sides. A lot of them.
It's like tackling Herschel Walker in high school. No thanks.
No whatsoever.
Playing Class A high school football. 2 hours in the books. When we come back, we start hour number 3, and you know how we do it on Tuesday. We do it talking the NFL with Bo Marchant.
sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Winton Road.
All 650 acquisition fee, 20,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, EV6, 36-month lease, RU 621,425, 36-month lease, MSRP 55,820, K4 SEO 64,461, MSRP 24,715, Telluride SG 596,204, MSRP 41,060, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through KFA, excludes tax title license with approved credit, dealer stock only, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 131/24.
I got Jeff Allen on the line. He's doing numbers I've never heard of before at Gossen Kia South on Mount Moriah.
Randy, when's the last time you heard of a new ride at $163 a month with electric EPA range of estimate 310? I got it in a 2024 Kia EB6, $63.96 due at signing, 36-month lease. Or a 2025 K4 GT Line, $206 a month, $34.99 due at signing, 24-month lease. 2025 Telluride S front-wheel drive, $398 per month, $39.99 due at signing, 24-month lease.
And every Gossett Kia comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Good afternoon. MPD's on the scene of a couple of minor accidents. It has picked up with more volume out here for this time of the afternoon than it was yesterday on 240 East from Mill Branch, headed out towards Bill Morris Parkway. A couple of fender benders in the last 10-15 minutes. It is building through the Midtown area a little bit more now on I-40 over here up by Chelsea. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, they're located 7525 Highway 64. They want you to know they are your Valentine's Day headquarters. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. National Football League talk every Tuesday with Bo Marchant, covering the NFL Draft at collegetopro.com and the NFL Draft Bible, covering the Steelers for Sports Illustrated, living and running in Eastern Ohio, and on Twitter X at Bo Marchant. Here's Bo with Bryant and Brett.
Indeed, that music and that introduction means our friend from Eastern OHIO, where they're still celebrating, I bet, for the Buckeyes. Bo Marchant joins us now to talk the NFL. In Youngstown last night, were there a lot of good game-watching parties? If you'd have wanted to gone out and mix and mingle at the local tavern, could you have?
Yeah, I'm sure there was. A lot of pizza shops that were open on a Monday stayed open. We were invited to a couple different places last night, but I elected to stay home. Big games like that, Brett, I just kind of like watching it myself.
Me too.
And just kind of being dialed in, because, once you go somewhere, you kind of talk and mingle, and then I lose sight of what's going on.
I like to watch it with my legal pad and make a few notes.
But, yeah, that's what you have to do. Like, even Saturday night, we had a thing Saturday night, so Sunday, when I woke up, I watched both the Saturday games in the NFL. So it's kind of live in the moment, and then you kind of get back to work on it the next day.
Look who I got in here with me today, Darian Newsom.
Bo, how's it going? Long time no talk, buddy.
Yes, sir. Nice to talk with you as well. Is Brian off on the Cowboys coaching search or what?
that may be the reason he is not here, because
we're waiting for the Cowboy
coach.
news. That's the big one now. I know there are four other open. There's 4 places remaining to be named.
Yeah, we got Jacksonville. It looks like Aaron Jones will sign with the Jets. And then you have Jacksonville. And then we got Johnson going to Chicago. We have the Cowboys opening, and then we still got the Raiders. The Raiders hire anybody yet?
Nope.
Still have the Raiders. That's right.
Yep.
We do.
Still have the Raiders.
of all those jobs, which one would you want, Beau Marchant, for next year?
If I could have any of the job openings,
yes.
Man, you know what? I think I would take the Dallas job, and I say that reluctant to work for Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
I would not want to work, but I just think talent-wise, I don't want to deal with the Rodgers situation in New York. I'm not a believer in Trevor Lawrence and what Jacksonville's doing. Too many games overseas, and that leaves the Raiders, which I think is, no quarterback. They're not drafting high enough to get one right now. So that just seems like a long-term project. So, Dak in-house, you got some franchise pieces in Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb. So I don't want to work for Jerry Jones, but maybe they phase him out by the time I get in year 2 of my coaching career in Dallas. How's that sound?
And it is the Cowboys. That's a great answer. And that Jacksonville point you make, that's high-level stuff. Not only are they going to have their normal 2 or 3 games away with the refurbishing, basically rebuilding of that stadium. When I was there for the Gator Bowl, they said they're going to have as many as 6 European games a year. 6 out of 17 or 18 games will be over there. They're going to go over there and stay.
Yeah, it's it's kind of one of those things we've seen it coming, and it's just the way the NFL's going. They want to expand. They want to create teams that are, world renowned and become a brand overseas. I get it. If they keep it, we haven't seen expansion for a while, but, maybe that'll lead to some more teams expanding within the States. But, it's kind of weird to think that, if you're playing in the National Football League, that you could be, I don't want to say stationed overseas, but, you could be possibly playing half of your season in the NFL. Not, because some of these guys, just say you're a rookie, you get an apartment in Jacksonville. Now you got to get an apartment in overseas, and so. But hey, that's where they're going. I'm sure they'll make the accommodations, and more than anything, I don't want to get off topic, but if they're going to play the games over there, I just want to make sure that these guys are in a safe environment and they do everything they can to make sure. And I know nothing's 100%, but I just want to make sure that they're in a safe environment where nothing bad happens.
Bo, I want to go to what I was calling the heavyweight championship title event of Sunday night, which was the Ravens and the Bills, and the quarterback play. This was one time that I definitely don't believe. I know he had a turnover, but I don't believe that this was 100% on Lamar Jackson as far as the losses. A lot of times you look at him and you directly correlate his quarterback play with, that's why you lost. I think we saw a play or two that obviously weren't his fault. So I'm going to absolve him for that. But back to Lamar Jackson. With this MVP vote coming up and him not winning the big one again, should he want a third MVP trophy in his room without a Super Bowl appearance?
Well, I think he'd be the first player, if he does win, with 3 Super Bowl or 3 MVPs and no Super Bowl appearances. Listen, Lamar had his mistakes, but he drove the ball down the field when they needed it to. And, he threw the pass that should have been caught by Mark Andrews to tie the game. Those mistakes happen. I don't really credit, I don't put any of the, I shouldn't say any of the blame, but I thought Lamar Jackson played well. Could he have played better? Yes. I just think Matt Milano, the way the Bills used him and the way the Bills defense played that particular night was just too much for the Ravens to overcome. Costly mistakes. We could talk about Lamar Jackson's turnovers. I mean, the fumble by Andrews at midfield. They get the ball down inside the 3. They have to settle for a field goal. That could have made it 14-14. Now it's 14-10. Buffalo gets another touchdown. Now it's 21-10 going in the half. But they drove the ball down. I think Lamar Jackson's a fabulous player. And, Peyton Manning had his struggles before he got over the hump. Elway went to Super Bowls, didn't get him until Shanahan got there. So to think that the Ravens are out of sync or they're not going to be in this position for years to come with him and that team, I don't believe that. But it hurts. It hurts. And when you're that talented and you got that hardware of MVP trophies, that's where that talk comes. But I think Saturday night's game or Sunday night's game, both those teams, and we would have been talking about Josh Allen if it would have went the other way. What's Josh Allen have to do? Where's his playoff success? Blah, blah, blah. 2 great teams, 2 great quarterbacks. It was just sad that one of them had to win or one of them had to lose. And and now they get to go play Patrick Mahomes, who's eyeing his third straight. So a lot to talk about across the league.
Quickly before break gets to you, I looked up something this morning, and it actually had before the age of 30. It compared Lamar Jackson and Peyton Manning, both 3 and 5 up to this point right now.
Wow, there you
without
go.
Super Bowl victories.
Yeah. Listen, Lamar Jackson's fantastic. Like I said, he had a couple turnovers, but we saw Derrick Henry drop the pass, the big Andrew plays, the critical plays that Buffalo made offensively. They kept them within that striking distance, or kept them out of striking distance to keep it that close. And they had their shot. They had their shot to tie the game at the end. I didn't like Harbaugh going for 2 when it was 20. They could have been 21-21 instead it's 29. I just thought there was third quarter. You had so much time left in the game. I would have just liked to see the extra point. And if that comes to fruition, then they got to kick an extra point to tie it Sunday night. It would have been 27-26. Kick the extra point. You assume Tucker makes it. And then, we got a minute 33 left. Maybe Josh Allen takes the ball down the field. The way that Buffalo was moving the football, I thought that was very realistic that Buffalo could have done that. It was one of those games where, if they would have tied it, it would have been one of those things where, you hate to give Josh Allen the football at home with the minute 33. It still might not have ended on the way the Ravens wanted it to. But nonetheless, 2 great quarterbacks. And I don't think it was the best game we've seen from either one of them, but nonetheless, it was a good game.
That criticism that Lamar Jackson is taking, does Josh Allen get that if he doesn't win Sunday, this coming Sunday?
He will. We will talk about Josh Allen not being able to beat the Michael Jordan of football. But I've mentioned it so many times on this program. It's what all these teams in basketball had to deal with. From the time Bird and the Celtics, they dominated the East, and you had to go through Boston to get there. And Detroit took their beatings, and then Chicago took their beatings by Detroit before Chicago. The Bulls took over, and they started their run. So, listen, Mahomes and Reed, they got this thing dialed in. Spags is a great deep coordinator. But if there's any chance, I think out of all these times where you got a team going to Arrowhead and these teams are going to match up, you got to think Buffalo has a shot. I think Josh Allen, I think the way Josh Allen played this year, he's my MVP. I just think there was moments this year, especially against Detroit, the way he played that game specifically, I just thought he was just in such a zone, just a place of dominance, and I think that could carry over. We know his regular season success against the Chiefs, but Mahomes, he has the success when it counts. 3-0 against Allen in the playoffs, and that's what matters most. So it's going to be a great game, and you think this is what you want. I know people are tired of the Chiefs and Mahomes, but I mean, to think that you wanted the Texans to play the Ravens or Buffalo heading into this week. I mean, if Mahomes is going to get his third straight chance or his third Super Bowl in a row, you want him to play Jackson or Allen to get there, and vice versa. If Allen or Jackson were going to make their run to the Super Bowl, you want them to take down Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead. I mean, that is just a great storyline.
Help me with the level of criticism. Back when it was on Peyton, before he finally won that Super Bowl over the Bears, do you think it was in line with what Lamar Jackson's getting now, or is it more over the top now?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's more in line. I don't think it's over the top.
Goes with the territory?
I think it goes with the territory. I think the MVPs add to that. Like, Josh Allen doesn't have the MVPs that Jackson has. So, you're thinking MVP, you're the MVP. That means you're the best player, the most valuable commodity in the entire league, but you can't get your team to the final destination. And I think that's where the buildup comes. Absent of those MVPs, maybe not so much pressure, but nonetheless, the pressure, even without MVPs, is going to be on Josh Allen. And like you mentioned, if they don't win in KC this weekend, we're going to say, well, what do the Bills do? Where do they go from here? You can't beat this team. You can't beat Mahomes. Where do you go from it? And I thought that window for Buffalo was going to close this past year. I thought last year, especially with Stephon Diggs moving on and some of the pieces, I felt that this was the year that they would regress. But that wasn't the case. You could argue that Allen played his best season. Bills, despite having some key injuries on defense, played their best season. So McDermott, I loved what they did against Baltimore. I thought the defensive game plan, having Milano kind of keep an eye and spy on Jackson, be that disruptive force time and time again. you just kept hearing Milano's name called, doing just an intricate little bump or just getting in the face or in the hassle of Lamar Jackson. And maybe they do that with Mahomes because we know Mahomes is so dangerous at picking up crucial yards when the Chiefs need them most. And maybe Milano can be that factor. It's, wait and see. But, again, I'm excited about both games. Washington, the Eagles, great NFC showdown. And, the Washington got the best of them the last game, a high-scoring game. So, Jaden Daniels looks phenomenal. So it's a great week for me just to watch all these games.
You mentioned windows. We have a great NBA guest with us every week at 4 o'clock on Thursday, Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show based out of Orlando. A lot of strong Boston ties. And he has a good saying about windows. They have a way of shutting pretty quickly on you. Detroit, how wide open's their window? Shut, open, wide open, or what?
I think their window's pretty wide open. I think right now we know Ben Johnson went to Chicago and Glenn I think he's going to the Jets. So you're losing two, your OC and your DC, and you figure some assistant coaches probably go along with that. And then some players will probably go along with those guys. It's nothing against Dan Campbell. It's just the way the league works. And, you like to go with certain coaches and certain coordinators want to go with these other guys. So there will be some transition on the coaching side, I think, more than the roster. Listen, I think Detroit, I don't want to make excuses because everybody's hurt, but there was something in the back of my mind to think that if Detroit would have won it and won it easily or just won it at all without Aiden Hutchinson and all the defensive injuries that they had on their front, it almost would have been a slap in the face to all these other teams, like, wow, you couldn't do this. But I think it finally surfaced against Washington that you had a team that had a fantastic young quarterback. They were playing with house money. They were going for it. They were playing Dan Campbell football. Quinn was doing exactly what Dan Campbell does. Fourth down, we're going for it. Fourth down, we're going for it. We're going to keep the foot on the gas. We're not going to let up. And they were able to make those plays. The one play where they didn't, that Washington got the offensive pass interference, so it created a first down and goal, and they eventually got another touchdown out of that. But I think the window's wide open. Remember, San Francisco had a couple of successful years in the 90s before they won back-to-back ones. And then the same thing with Denver. Denver had success, and then they won a couple back-to-back ones with Elway after some really dominant seasons. I think the one year they were 15-1, and they didn't make it to the AFC Championship. So, things happen. We saw it with Aaron Rodgers, great Packers team, and the Giants, Eli and those guys go into Lambeau and walk out with a dominant. So, it happens. I think the window's still open. I think Campbell has created a nice culture. I love the roster. I think Jamar Gibbs, we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg on how electrifyingly good he is. I think this time next year he's the Christian McCaffrey times 2. He's the guy that is the unstoppable force. Even with Montgomery there, Jamar Gibbs is becoming a guy that's just basically an unstoppable force for that Lions offense.
Oh, yes. We know 5 turnovers will do you in, every single time.
Y'all know I turned on the Lions.
Yeah, that was his Detroit Lions.
No more.
But sticking in that game, this wonderful quarterback, I mean, it looks like a mirror season of what C.J. Stroud did last year, speaking of Jaden Daniels, I'm sorry. So my question is about the coaching in Washington. Do you give credit to Cliff Kingsbury, do I say, for the development of Jaden Daniels, or was he always this Burrow-like talent?
Well, I like Jaden. He was my number one coming in this year. Did I think Jaden Daniels was going to play the way that he did and Washington's in the NFC Championship? No. I would have said a dream season for Washington at best would have been 7-10. I would have said that was a fantastic season for that team. I think Kingsbury, Quinn, the whole organization, and Daniels, you just have to credit all of them for just a perfect mixture of success. And I don't think anybody, we could talk about, just not to get off topic, but look at where Andrew Reid was when he left Philadelphia. He was a coach who couldn't win the big game. He was a coach where he was the Marty Schottenheimer of the league, where you're going to get playoff wins, you're going to get division titles, but you're not going to hoist the Lombardi. He finds himself a Patrick Mahomes, and now he's a legendary coach. He's on his possible 3rd straight Super Bowl. So I think it's a little bit of everything. You have to have it all. And Kingsbury has done nothing short of amazement, if you will, and bringing Jaden Daniels along. And to Jaden Daniels' credit, he looks like a seasoned veteran. He's had such a wonderful personality. He's just so in the moment of just going with the flow. He doesn't seem anything's too big for him. I love the way he plays the quarterback position. We know he's lethal with his feet, but he knows how to take hits. And I love how he's light. He doesn't have that big frame, but he avoids those big tackles. No matter where he's at, it always seems like he's always in the position to make himself a protected guy with the football. And I think that's a big, big point with a guy like him being able to be so versatile with his feet and his arm. But, they played a great game. They did everything they had to do. They made the plays when they had to. And on the opposite side, when things start to compile like they did for the Lions and the turnovers and the miscues, the Jameis Williamson INT, Campbell not calling a timeout when there was 12 men on the field, those little things, when you're in a critical game where you need points, you can't make those mistakes. And we learned this weekend, if you make mistakes, Baltimore did them,
you lose.
The Lions did them, you're not going to be able to win.
Who wins these games Sunday? The first game, 2 Central on Fox, Washington in Philly, and then 5:30 on CBS, Buffalo at Kansas City again.
I think the Eagles are a better football team. I think Washington was a little lucky the last time they played them, and they got by them at the end of the season. So I think Philadelphia wins that particular game, and I'm going with Buffalo. The Chiefs are just an amazing team, but it just disappoints me with the way that they win. Even against the Texans, it was almost like a prize fight where I thought the Texans landed more punches, but the Chiefs landed the big punches that mattered. And I thought they got outplayed in certain points, but lo and behold, they've done that all season. They have the best quarterback in the league. They have one of the best Hall of Fame coaches we've seen in some time, and Spags got that defense playing as good as ever. So, but with that said, I just think this is Josh Allen's time. I think he is the MVP, and I think he'll be able to carry that into the Super Bowl against the Eagles. If things work out how I think, that's what it is.
Do you have Chiefs fatigue? Are you ready for something new?
Say yes.
No, not at all. I listen, I love Mahomes. I love the Chiefs. I love everything they do. I've picked against them because they don't impress me this year. But lo and behold, they're 15-2. They got the number 1 seed, and they're relentless in how good they are. They got so much confidence. They're never out of the game. No matter what happens, they find a way to win. But I just think time is not on their side in this particular case. I think Buffalo's hot. I think they're excited about getting that win over, Baltimore. But again, if we're talking next Tuesday and we're talking about Mahomes going back for the 3rd straight time, I won't be surprised. But I'm going Philadelphia against Buffalo.
I'm glad you gave your picks because I wanted to ask you one more question, and this was about the Eagles' side of the offensive side of the ball. Mainly speaking of Jalen Hurts and his connections with his wide receivers. You just picked the Philadelphia Eagles. Can this game be won by Jalen Hurts if it rests on his arm, not his legs?
Yeah, I think so. I believe in Jalen Hurts as a quarterback with his arm as well as his legs. So I think he has the weapons. He makes the
healthy?
play. Yeah, healthy. That's the big thing, how healthy he is. I mean, and I should have probably thought about that more, but I just think he's going to be able to play. He ended that game. I think that defense is, out of all the defense that remain, the Chiefs have a great defense, but I think, we saw some of that Jalen Carter surgence against the Rams. He made the big play where he blew past the center to kind of not win the game, but seal the game for them. I just think that defense is very, very built for cold weather football, playoff football. And then you got the guy like Barkley who's so dynamic. And, even if Jalen isn't firing on all cylinders, they just have a way to go about it. So but it's hard for me to pick Washington. It just is. It's you got a rookie quarterback, but they're here. I just think eventually it's kind of like Cinderella and that pumpkin cart. Sooner or later, I think it just kind of disappears. And I think for Washington, that does this weekend when they go to Lincoln Financial. But
a long time for Washington to be back in this position. I mean, that franchise, Daniel Snyder did a number on it.
Hey, well, Brett, the funny thing is when I met my wife, I was a huge Washington fan growing up, and I met my wife in '91, so I enjoyed. I remember me and my buddy after how we went before school. We went and saw the Washington that year at RFK, and then lo and behold, they beat the Bills in the Super Bowl. And at the end of that game, they showed the stats that this is the first time since '91 that they've made the playoffs, 32 seasons. And I told my wife, I said, "Look at that." I go, this was one of the best franchises when I met you, and look what you did to it. I go, it took 32 years for this team to find it. And then she joked around. She goes, so what are you saying? Our marriage is on the rock?
No.
I said, no.
Better than ever, honey.
Yeah, it's better than ever. But I go, look what you did to this team that I loved growing up. I go, you dismantled it. So,
It's the Joe Gibbs nugget of all time. 3 Super Bowl wins, 3 different quarterbacks.
That's Brett, and that's the amazing part. I mean, you think Joe Theismann, Mark Ripien, and Jay Schrader. That's the thing I think.
Doug Williams.
Yeah, and Doug Williams. Yeah, Doug Williams. Yeah, no, that's the genius of Gibbs. And you even look. I mean, he did it with George Rogers. He did it with John Riggins, and then I think Timothy. I want to say
Smith.
Timothy Robbins, but
Tim Smith.
Tim Smith
From Texas Tech.
it was
Bobby
all different
Beathard
times.
guy. Bobby Beathard signed him.
Yeah, that was the genius of Gibbs, where it wasn't just okay. We got Montana and Rice. We're going to do this. We got Bradshaw, and no. This. We got Brady and Belichick. No. They had different key guys at key positions throughout that run.
The fun
they
bunch
had
at receiver had good
Oh,
tight ends. Had Didier. Had
Clint Didier. Clint Didier was fantastic.
Yeah. But back to the end, and they have just done nothing. I mean, that franchise almost ruined. In D.C., the job around town that he's doing with corporate sales, Magic Johnson has helped that franchise.
Big time.
Yeah, he has.
When he walks in, you listen.
Yes.
Now, he's the Magic Man. He's part of the Dodgers. He's part of Washington. Some guys have a good karma about them.
And he's likable. You want to hang with Magic Johnson.
He's a winner.
He's a winner.
Yeah. And that's what it is. He wins your confidence at the get-go, and I think that carries over where you have a guy like him and his background and his success. Even outside of sports, I don't want to delve into how successful he is as a businessman, but he was able to do.
Yeah.
I mean, just phenomenal. Vision to
really
do
the blueprint that LeBron has followed for making money off the floor.
Yep, to a T.
Yeah. And LeBron has had the luxury of making quadruple the money that these guys made it. They're all worth money now, but even when Magic and all these guys, compared to what these guys make now,
right?
When
Magic was a rookie in the NBA, they were still at baggage claim in those days.
Oh yeah,
wasn't he the first $1 million contract in the NBA?
He or Bird, it was close in there, both of them. Yeah.
I remember getting a sport magazine. They'd have the top listed guys in each sport. I think at the time Tyson made the most money, which was not a lot, but he was in the millions. Then you had like Joe Montana. I think he made I don't know. You're talking about a magazine from 1989. But, I think Joe Montana made $675,000, and Magic made $1.2 million, and Bird made $1.2 million, and that was astronomical money.
Deep Snapper makes that now.
Yeah, now you just, you could be on the practice squad. You're making $700,000.
Watches the whole game between his legs.
I can tell you one person not making $7,000. He's talking to you right now.
Yeah, you got a couple more back on the other end. Now, Darren with his TV job, he may.
Oh no, I just work with the ones that do. Don't be afraid.
Bo, enjoy the games this weekend, and we'll talk about the matchup for Super Bowl 59 next Tuesday when you join us.
Absolutely. You gentlemen stay safe as well.
Sir,
Thank you, my friend. Bo Marchant with us from Eastern Ohio, covering all things NFL, mainly on the Steelers beat, but also the rest of the league for us every Tuesday. Year-round, we talk the NFL.
Yeah.
Those Washington teams, he mentioned, did it with Theismann, did it with Doug Williams, starting at Super Bowl. Jay Schrader had been the starter most of the year, and then came back with Mark Ripien to win that last one against Buffalo in Minneapolis at the Metrodome.
Jay Schrader. That was the same Jay Schrader from the Raiders, what?
It is.
Okay.
Big, strong
Played with Bo
arm.
Jackson and Marcus Allen. Okay.
Could throw it, 5 miles, but didn't know where it was going often.
Okay. I was like, that name's ringing bells from the other coast. Okay. That was the Jay Schrader.
He was around a lot. That was fun to visit with Bo. We'll of course make our picks on Friday on the NFL games, and it's gotten close on our point total on Friday, the all-important point total.
Yes.
So
by the hairs of our chin.
You got to try to pull it out. You got Connor and Bryant right on you. Me, no factor.
Yeah.
No factor at all.
Still way down there?
Way down there. It was not my year. I'll get them next year.
You can get one of those all-ins like we do with the bankroll.
Now, I've had good NFL. I had a good NFL year, but overall, not very good. When we come back, we'll take a look at the headlines and what's trending. You're listening to Sports Time.
Pharma. Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? We have it covered at Humdinger. It's quick, it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. Many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Online radio show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Nancy Porter with 24/7 Sports. Your Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Moore covering SEC sports ball, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Garvey from kickoff to throw to extra innings. Your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station. Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. The Philly out paperwork on the crash. Over here, it's got traffic still slow go on 240 eastbound at Poplar. That's why it's just been crawling between Bill Morris Parkway and Poplar on 240 going eastbound is a mop of this accident involving some injuries. It's gotten heavier now on 40 east from Sycamore View Road all the way out past Germantown Parkway. St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital finds cures for kids with cancer and other life-threatening diseases. For donation information, check out stjude.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Thank you, Landon. We will talk baseball right now as Cooperstown just announced breaking 3 new members of the Baseball Hall of Fame. Ichiro Suzuki, C.C. Sabathia, Billy Wagner, all voted into the Hall of Fame. And Ichiro, 1 vote shy of becoming the 2nd player ever to be a unanimous selection. That player, Mariano Rivera.
Well deserved.
Who in the world didn't vote for him, but he's in.
Yeah, well deserved on all accounts, especially by Ichiro. I mean, when you start to cross those international waves, it just does something to me.
Oh, by the way, a great right fielder.
Just absolutely awesome.
Great base runner.
One of the fastest base runners. I mean, word on the street is he was a Hall of Famer before he even came here.
He was there.
He was great before
I went to St. Louis one weekend specifically to see him and specifically to watch batting practice, and it was artistry.
I can only imagine. I never got up there to see the great Ichiro, but I do remember his team. He had the Jay Bruners of the world on his team. Edgar Martinez on his team. He shared some time with Ken Griffey, didn't he?
Did.
Yeah, shared some time with Ken Griffey. But those Seattle Mariners, those are one of my favorite teams from back in the day, and so well deserved. He always tipped his hat. He seemed like a gentleman on and off of
an ambassador.
Field. Yes,
he
an
was
ambassador for the game. So I am extremely
Billy Wagner, another reliever. I'm glad that seal finally got broken a few years ago.
Oh yeah. He's the first one since what was the last one? Eckersley?
No, Eckersley been in.
Wagner. I'm doing
Trevor Hoffman, maybe.
Trevor. Okay, yeah, maybe Trevor.
No, we finally started getting
maybe Trevor.
relievers.
Yeah, maybe Trevor. Yeah, maybe I forget Hoffman did get in.
And at one time, Eck was a starter.
Yes.
Then
he moved over, right?
Yeah.
Then he moved to the pen. But a lot of guys that did not make the list, and I guess my big rant is at some point we have to get over ourselves. Manny Ramirez still not in. A-Rod still not in.
Ridiculous.
Jimmy Rollins, I can kind of see them on the.
I think he should be in.
Rollins, he's been on there 4 times. Andy Pettit's been on there 7 times.
Speaking of Eck, this is me hanging out with 2 X, David Eckstein and Dennis Eckers.
I told you, Landon. I gotta get me some pictures.
How you like hanging out with those guys?
Look at that. You're all decked out.
Who's the odd one out?
They are, because you're decked out. No, they are the odd men out. Look at that. He's all in the red hat on in the hole.
How about
Where was that? Is that St. Louis?
That was in September.
This past September.
Yeah, when I threw out one of the first pitches.
Oh, okay. Eckersley was there.
I don't know if ever you talked about it on the air, did
No, I don't believe. Breaking news, Landon. I didn't know he threw out the
I
first
just goosed it up there.
Good.
Just wanted to make sure I got it over.
Did you got it over though?
Yeah.
Any footage of it?
Well, we had a technical issue.
I'm already on it. I'm trying to find it.
You trying to find it?
No, we had a technical issue.
Go for it, Landon.
Here's why. Don't ever hand your phone to someone around your age.
Yeah.
Like I did.
Yeah.
I handed it to a nice lady who had a child that was throwing out one of the pitches as well. And the nice lady was around my age. So it meant, nicely, she's old.
Yeah.
And she got on film her reaction to me throwing out the pitch. She didn't have it flipped around. And I get back, she handed me my phone, so I'm going to go back and look at it, and it's her filming me. I'm going, thanks a lot.
She took a selfie of you.
I think they're going to capture.
Man.
They have it from the high home plate camera shot, I think.
Great.
And I'm going to try to get it.
Who was it against? Which game?
It was on a Sunday against Seattle.
That was Seattle. Okay, that's
when I went up and back that
that's
day,
when you went
around
back.
the week after Labor Day. Yeah.
Yep. But it's some great names on here that we just kind of get out of our. I mean, the baseball hall is still that hollowed. Great. They all should be in with the
I'm
list
so tired.
that I'm looking at.
I'm so exhausted of fighting this.
Yes, 10th year for Billy Wagner. I mean, Andrew Jones.
Did he get better in the last year?
No. I mean, he didn't get worse or better. Like his numbers
in baseball, so very selective. I told you during the break that I think everybody that's ever known me knows baseball is my favorite sport. I love college football. I mean, it's 1 and 1A. Baseball's there, and college football is kind of right there. Yeah. Okay, so close enough. But I can sit at baseball. You know how much baseball I go to, or used to go to. I'm done going to AutoZone Park because it makes me want to cry every time I walk in, and then I have to run into the person running it, and that makes me mad. So I can avoid both of those things.
Yes.
I don't have to get mad or cry.
Yep.
But every year at Hall of Fame time, I got so tired of a select group wanting to preach at me. Well, Brett, you know they don't call it the Hall of Good. I know what the hell they call it. Mm-hmm. But let's put some people in. Why 2 or 3 or something? Baseball loves it when they pass.
Yes.
And don't have anybody going in.
Yeah, when they just kind of just omit the list.
And then the whole steroid era. How do you explain the game without saying that Roger Clemens is not in?
Yes. Roger's definitely not there. I mean, these names there's some ridiculously good names on there. And I'm trying to look. So Andrew Jones is not in?
And he may be. I don't know what kind of guy he is away from the ballpark, but I know what Kurt Schilling did on the field.
Yeah, and that's not where we're judging.
I don't want to be besties with him.
Correct.
And guess what? I bet Kurt Schilling doesn't want to hang with me.
Yeah.
You think Kurt Schilling wants to hang with me?
I mean, he'd probably drink a cold one with you.
I'd drink a cold one with anybody.
he'd probably sit down and chat it up. But
he may be the world's biggest meathead off the field.
But that's not what they.
But I know what he did on that diamond.
On the field, the diamond.
And that is meritorious, I think, of being enshrined into Cooperstown. It's not heaven.
Mm-hmm. It should be the only thing that matters, what you did on the diamond, just to be honest. I mean, a lot of this stuff is personal.
Well, that's a great debate question.
A lot of this stuff is personal.
Because if we went back, if it was just for saints, we'd throw a lot of sinners out.
Mm-hmm. You're correct.
So here we go. Pete Rose, in or out?
He should have been in. I don't like saying it because I was always a proponent.
I've been
of him
all
being
over the
in.
place with it.
I've been a proponent of him getting in. The entire time.
Oh, I haven't.
Initially, I guess
because
some say he was coerced to even sign the
No, don't buy that.
So he wasn't don't buy that. Okay,
don't buy that.
Okay,
he signed willingly in front of legal counsel with Bart Giamatti, then the commissioner of the game, and his right hand man Faye Vincent sitting at his right hand.
Okay.
To accept a lifetime ban.
Sound, mind, and body.
And look, Pete was guilty.
Yeah.
And after waging a war against everyone, against John Dowd and the Dowd Report, against Giamatti, against Faye Vincent, against the FBI handwriting specialist, the FBI voice expert, the IRS, he said all those people were lying and I'm telling the truth. Yeah. And then out of the clear blue sky, he said, no, in fact, I was the one lying.
Yeah.
But he paid a price.
Yeah.
He paid it with the embarrassment of not going in while he was living.
Yeah.
Now in his passing,
day.
I think he should be in posthumously because he was the greatest switch hitter and all-time hits king ever.
Charlie Hustle, you cannot deny that one bit. But I totally agree with that. But as far as my historians, and some told me that he kind of got bamboozled. I'm glad you cleared that up. It was like, hey, maybe he got bamboozled to sign a lifelong ban. Darian, who would really do that? It's kind of how it was brought to me.
He fought him hammer and tongue until they presented him with clear evidence of, Pete, we got you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, crazy.
And it was controversial. And you know, the very next day after the announcement, Bart Giamatti, as a young man, fell over dead.
Oh,
from
did he?
Massive heart attack.
I did not know
that. That wasn't Pete's fault.
Yeah, it wasn't Pete's fault. No, it definitely wasn't Pete's fault or anybody else but the good Lord above. I am looking here. Andrew Jones did not get in. This list is starting to get to me again because
51-year-old Bart Giamatti. I just looked it up.
He was 51 when he passed?
51.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Let me tell you, when you're 62, 51 is real young.
Really. He was a very young man, very spry guy. Some other things in news. Let's see. Vikings have re-signed O'Connell. Multi-year deal, 14-2, going out first round. Doesn't matter.
Should have.
I guess they're going to lock him up for quite a while.
Get that same year from Sam Darnold again? Well, he's not.
So that's the question.
Yeah.
Is he there? Because I can say that you probably could franchise Darnold.
You probably could.
Because
they want him.
Because who says McCarthy's going to be right, next year? And sitting behind a veteran quarterback isn't the worst thing in the world. So
back to baseball. Did you hate the Astros like I did when the Cardinals and Astros were rivals?
Back then I did. I've grown to like them.
Me too.
I've grown to like the Astros.
Yeah, it was just fan. Just like when in the 80s when I hated the Mets. They were the big rival. That's why I hated them. Now I kind of look back on it. a little bit romantically, and a lot, sadly, that team, Doc Gooden,
Strawberry,
they only won it once.
Yeah,
that's almost impossible.
Yeah,
but the Astros, I guess they just won it once in the Killer Bee. No, they didn't win it at all in Killer Bees.
Bagwell,
No, they lost to
I don't
White
believe
Sox.
they
didn't win it at all.
I don't. Yeah, the White Sox did pull it out. Yeah,
got them in 05.
I don't believe they did.
If you were a Cub fan, think about having to suffer through this. In 05, you see the Southsiders winning. In 06, you see the Cardinals winning. That would be a lot to have to take.
Oh, it had to be excruciating. Then they get this Wiz kid from Boston, and now all bets are off.
He wins everywhere.
Yeah, and he just wins everywhere. You know, some say he's probably the next man in charge, the next big man in charge. Who knows?
Well, we need a next in charge.
Yeah, it's almost that time. And how would you feel if he got it?
Oh, great by it.
Okay.
Just don't lose your touch now.
Yeah, don't lose your touch now. I get it.
And will he stand up to the players and to the players' union? That is very.
He seems like
powerful.
a player's guy. Like when he comes around, the team likes him. Like when he was around Manny and Poppy.
But can he stand up to him and tell him no? Because he will be working for the owners.
Yeah, I never thought. Yeah.
And he had to take a tough stand because I think he has been very player driven.
Yes, he's been very blatant. So that's what I was. Yeah, so I see what you're saying. Now the tide is turning.
Yeah.
Now he has to satisfy some other bosses. Not sure. Not sure if he'd be able to take that hard stand, but kudos to the three gentlemen got into the Hall of Fame. So a lot of yellow tape here as we look. A lot of great players that are still not in, and as you can see, kind of gets under the crawl of both me and.
You got percentages in front of you?
Hold on, I
wonder who just missed.
Let's see, did I get off of it?
If we don't get it now, we'll get it tonight.
I don't have the full list of the guys.
But we know why Manny Ramirez is not in.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, you know all of them. Manny.
Barry Bonds.
Yeah, Barry, all those guys. You know why all of Pettit to some extent.
For sure.
Is kind of tied up in all of this stuff. But as far as the numbers of the guys that got in, CC was 86.8. Let's see. Wagner was 82.5. And Ichiro, like I said, almost 100, 99.7.
How would you like to live being the guy that didn't vote for Willie Mays?
You think he's still alive?
No. Boy, I hope he's Mr. Perfect.
Yeah. Not a speeding ticket anywhere.
Not anything.
Jaywalking, none of that stuff.
I mean, he's the most perfect human that ever walked.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And this person here, whomever it was that didn't vote for Ichiro, should be pretty close to that task as well because man's 100%. He's in. He should be in. I don't get it.
That Hall of Fame voter.
I don't get it.
They really believe they were selected in a special council with the Almighty.
Yeah, that's those MLB voters, and they'll never get off the high horse. The shift has to happen, where unfortunately the average age probably has to go down just a little bit to get some of the personal, I guess, vendettas out of it. If you see what I'm saying, the older voters may have vendettas,
but I think getting that voting privilege creates that haughtiness.
Yes. It gives you the experience to say, I belong or I should be able to vote the same way you have a vote. You say, hey, I've seen it. I didn't do it, but, hey, I was there. I saw it. I saw what you were on the diamond. And I think that stands for a lot.
Were public. I wish all votes for anything. My Heisman Trophy vote, it should be public. I mean, that ballot I send in, it ought to be that if somebody wanted to review it.
But you say it after the fact, right?
I do.
Okay.
And I bring the copy in here on Monday and talk about it every year.
But you don't know the peers unless they come out.
Right. Okay. Now some will print. You can print the PDF and save it. Some will, but a lot don't.
Yeah. Hiding behind something. That's all.
And I throw mine out there every year for all to see. I used to tweet it, but since I don't tweet, I don't do that anymore. Just bring it in here.
I noticed. We missed you on the Twitter.
Well, I hadn't missed it.
In a while. I know he hadn't been on there in a while, Landon. Trust me, I looked to see he had the nerve to tweet something a little bit last year, and I was like, he's back. Now I was like,
No.
Was that year before or something?
No. I hadn't been a single one in 3 years.
Has it been that long?
Never ever.
I thought I saw. Well, maybe you were tagged in something. I was like, he's back, and it was like, nope.
He's tagged Monday through Friday every day for Sportstime.
Okay,
there it is.
You can tag me all you want.
I thought I was like, he's back, and it's like, no. Nope, not a chance.
I ain't tagging back.
Not a chance.
We will come back. We'll wrap it up with Crunch Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Sean Sewer with XMC Technologies, your local source for the best in office technology for over 30 years. We believe that being a technology partner means meeting our clients' needs as they change over time. That's why I'm happy to share that we are now Visual Edge IT. As cyber attacks continue to be a growing threat, our customers are asking for more cybersecurity and ransomware protection. For more information on how to protect your office, visit us at visualedgeit.com or call us locally 901-737-8910.
You know, I think people forget there's a Central Barbecue location in South Haven.
And that's on us.
Well, you.
What does that mean?
Well, you're the spokesperson for Central Barbecue. It's your responsibility to remind people there's a Central Barbecue in South Haven.
It's very convenient that I'm the spokesperson when there's responsibility to be taken.
Just mention the Central Barbecue location in South Haven.
I got a lot to remember. There's the location on Butler downtown. There's a location on Summer, on Poplar.
And Getwell Road in South Haven. How hard is that?
I've heard you call yourself a spokesperson for Central Barbecue.
No, it was just to pick up chicks.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money... For shampoo? Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Well, I know this, what I learned today, 10 years for Ohio State between national titles, 12 years for Notre Dame to be in the finals. Both will do at least equal that in less time than 10 to 12 years. But when will Notre Dame win it all? I don't think they can, because for this reason, the playoffs make it team after team after team. They see just in the playoffs, in the old way, when they were winning it with Joe Montana and winning it with Lou Holtz, they just had to win that big bowl game.
Yep, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
One's easier than four.
Oh, absolutely.
What'd you learn?
Oh, what I learned? I actually learned two things. I actually learned that Bo Marchionte calls Andy Reid Andrew Reid. I don't know if any of you guys called that, but I called it. I love it. What else I learned today is that the SEC, we're number 2. Hey, we're number 2.
Does it mean less?
We have to accept it.
Does it mean more or less?
It doesn't mean more. I don't think I don't know if it
not
means
as
less.
much.
Not as much, but we are second. We are clearly second behind the Big Ten, and kudos to them. They
when
deserve
the
it all.
SEC comes back and gets on another one of those rolls, 4 in a row, 5 out of 6,
then they can
should
tell
be
everybody
more
else.
insufferable than ever.
Absolutely, and it should.
It will be,
and it will be, and should be.
It's insufferable losing 2 years in a row.
But a lot of people see another big team climbing up the ladder being Penn State, and let's just say for giggles that Penn State wins it all next year. Greg Sankey's going to change some rules around here.
Are you really scared of James Franklin?
No, I'm not, but his team looks good. His team looks good. Ohio State.
I would hope to run into him anytime.
Oh yeah,
I know what Ole Miss did to him last year.
Yeah, I mean he wets at the knees. He wets at the knees easily.
Could have done without this. Some cracking on Ohio State is the best team money can buy. I would tell all those people, it's legal now, and you're in there trying to get them too. If you could raise the money and you could pay them that much, you'd be doing it. I don't want to hear this I don't want any asterisk around Ohio State. An asterisk looks a little like that Buckeye on the helmet, doesn't it?
Yeah.
we don't need any asterisks, do we?
Oh, no, not at all.
What is it you could have done without?
What I could have done without. In being in the presence of you, Brett, I tend to deal with facts a lot more than I do with what ifs and what
I think that's a compliment, Landon.
That is a compliment.
Okay, thank you.
It's 100% a compliment. And so what I could have done without is all the naysayers about Marcus Freeman and this 3-point field goal that he dunked. People, do the math. If that 3-point goes in, how the game played out, when Ohio State kicked that 3 points to go up to 11, they would have been down 8. Are we not getting it? Now
there was a lot of time left.
Now Notre Dame has an opportunity to come down and win the game. They put it away when it was by 11. So I understand playing the 2-score game, so on and so forth. But at that moment, it didn't look smart. But if it goes in and you get to the end of the game, that's an 8-point game. That's what I'm saying.
And we're
dealing with facts. It would have been an 8-point game.
And he's not going anywhere. If Notre Dame wants to keep him, they'll keep him forever. They're not letting somebody leave on them again like Brian Kelly did. Where you beaming to tonight?
Oh, beam me to Thompson Bowling Arena.
Same for me.
It wasn't right. Hey, we got 2 ranked teams. We got my Starkville Bullies coming into Thompson Bowling to play. I guess he's almost the basketball James Franklin, wouldn't you say?
Rick Barnes?
Rick Barnes, yeah, he can't win the big one, right? So far he has.
Second round Rick.
Hey, so far he hasn't. But yeah, that's where I'm being to. Thompson Bowling.
Same.
Yeah, give me some bullies and some volunteers.
Knoxville for Dogs and Vols. Smokey for Tennessee. Bully for Mississippi State. That is a lot of dogs, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And now I've gotten older. I got a son that goes to Mississippi State, so I have to say that I'm actually rooting for Mississippi State.
2 good coaches, Chris Jans against Rick Barnes. 90-46, Tennessee leads all time. The last Mississippi State win in Knoxville.
Wow, 90-46
was in 2015.
Wow. 90-46, that's the record?
90-46, Tennessee leads that margin by.
Good luck, Bullies.
Yeah, good luck to them. What else do you watch tonight? Keeping a close eye on.
Tonight, probably be a little bit of NBA
What about
action.
the NBA games?
Yeah, a little bit of
all
NBA
double-digit
action.
favorites.
We're probably going to dibble-dabble around. I can't do the live bet. That's my one handicap. I can't live bet because I'm in Mississippi, so I don't have the pleasure of seeing these games and jumping on my great field. But tonight, just kind of
it's
bounce around
probably
a little bit.
ultimately saving you cash.
It is. It probably has. But I told Bryant a couple of weeks ago, I looked at my ledger and it's negative 2K. So I was like, maybe I need to stop as a whole.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. I got off to a rocky start because I did that dumb 1,000. Because it was new. It was new. And I bet that $1,000 that Moody would get drafted in the top 10 by the Grizzlies. And we got...
and I'm on the airwaves comparing him to Carmelo Anthony. Look what it did to both of us.
Yes, look what it did. Hey, everybody thought Moody was.
Moody got us all, didn't he?
Moody got us all. Moody got us all.
Vandy at Bama tonight. I'll watch Mizzou at Texas. Anyone care about the AAC games? UTSA at UAB, ECU at Tulsa, Wisconsin at UCLA. Nothing says Pauley Pavilion in January like the Badgers visiting, does it?
Oh, no, absolutely. Got the Badgers coming
and
in
Mick
there.
Cronin complaining about having to go east.
Oh, yeah. Mick Cronin's complaining about a lot nowadays.
He went on a big fit, and he said he's seen the Statue of Liberty 2 times in the last 3 weeks. Well, one of them was a made-for-TV game, non-conference. He didn't have to play in that game against North Carolina.
Absolutely right.
Nobody made him go. I bet it was a pretty good fee for the old coach to go.
It absolutely was.
5 NBA games, 76ers at Denver. No Joel against the Joker. We've had fun today. I want to thank Brent Beard for joining us, Matt Infield, and Bo Marchand. I want to thank Landon, and I want to thank you, Darian. Great job. Great to see you. Are we only going to visit on the air all of 2025? Is that how it's going to be?
No, if Landon, you want to take off? I can come back anytime.
Hey, dude, you're always welcome back here.
Thank you, man.
We love both of you.
Thank you.
For Darian, for Landon, and for Bryant in his absence, I'm Brett. Everybody have a great night. Bryant, I'll be back with you tomorrow at 3.